Hello, cuties. It's freezy and frosty outside. I hope everybody's been staying inside and being as warm and cozy as much as you can. Do you how do? Hi, Maddie. How are you doing today on this very chilly Sunday? Got like 8 inches of snow here. Oh, so like average size? Hi, Guru. How are you doing today? I guess it'd be Monday morning for you. I don't know if you're getting blanketed with the cold stuff over there in Japan, but it's like a massive cold front and a huge temperature shift hit like the freaking eastern half of the US, so felt better since the past few days. Sickness is calming down. That's good. Doing great. Got my hacked Twitter account back. Well, that's good. No, I live in the part of Japan where we barely get snow. Also, if you heard that sniffling sound, that's because the criminal... Okay, like 10, 15 minutes ago, while I was setting up stream, she wanted to go outside and play in the snow. But as soon as I hit go live, she's like tore her way into the house. Wait, does anybody have cut? That's the same. Now she's just sitting on my table licking herself. Whoa. Okay. Sorry, I had to move my PC mouse off of my little work table here because her butt was pushing it around. Well, damn. If you could hear her chirping in the background whenever I open up stream, I can hear her sometimes. But like I said, it was so funny a few days ago, like right before I clocked into work. I like literally clicked the thing to listen to that one song from Initial D on YouTube, and I immediately got the notification that you went live. It's like, damn, I really summoned her. Yeah, I was actually scheduled to work today, and I actually had the day off because where I work was closed because you couldn't get there because it's frozen. Which was great, but like, I admit, I woke up at the time I usually had to go to work. I woke up, like, ate a bagel, made sure that the fuzzball had food and stuff. Damn, yo, who up Crystal in their Pokemon? Me! Hi, Seepin. How are you doing today on this lovely, very cold Sunday? But yeah, I like, went back to bed, woke up again at, like, 11, and then went back to bed at 1. So I've really only been up since 4 in the afternoon. It's nice, though. I needed some sleep. I've been so exhausted for the last few days and just not sleeping, so just being able to just sleep a lot helped. I do feel a lot better. Can't see the road or sidewalks at all. Yeah, same. You forgot to say hi back. I mentioned Initial D once, and like her ears just perked up. It's like you mentioned the Initial D boys, and it's like a cat in another room when they hear you opening up like a tuna can or something. You just come running. Like, gay men in cars? Gay men in cars? Tried looking for Kanker Sister Knees, only found one, working the other two. Almost done. Awesome. Honestly, I've never understood, like, as a kid watching Ed, Edd and Eddy, I did not understand why they wouldn't totally go for the Kanker sisters. I mean, they were all baddies. Feel bad whenever you mention Iit'S, because I know no one in this room no, but my brain wants to talk about it. Okay. I want to watch it at some point. I actually do, because I always think about the fact that there used to be this little, trying to think of what you call it. Not exactly a flea market, but it wasn't exactly a thrift store either, but that kind of vibe. Because they had different stalls, but they weren't really a flea market. You know, like, were ran by, like, different people. And this one place had a full Initial D DVD box set. But it was on, like, really, really high on a shelf. The weird thing is the stall had nothing else anime related. They had, like, power tools and stuff like that. Just a market, I guess. I guess so. But, like, almost everything everybody sold was, like, pre-owned stuff and, like... No, but the thing is, like, I always wanted to get that Initial D box set. It was, like, $30. So for the whole series, that's really good. And, like, I could never find anyone to get it down for me because the ladies that ran it, like, one lady was in, like, she was pushing 80. And then, like, there was her daughter who was in her 50s, and neither of them were in great shape. They weren't, like, falling apart or anything, but, you know, they wouldn't be getting on a ladder. Initial G attracted a lot of non-anime fans. No, I totally understand that. That makes a lot of sense, because if you're a car fan or a fan of Tokyo Street Racing, you know, it's got something for you. Because I think the problem with a lot of anime in general is they're made only for anime fans, or made for certain subsets of people who already like anime and already like certain tropes. So it just, like, creates this spiraling effect where the audience gets smaller and smaller. Tokyo Street Racing. I know, I'm so sorry. It's just that genre's been slammed in from so much English media that it sticks. I am so sorry. Tokyo Street Racing, and it's just a bunch of people walking through Shinjuku. Or the Shibuya Scramble Crossing. I mean, it doesn't help that a lot of, like, street racing games from Japan were called, like, Tokyo Street Racing something. I hate Tokyo Drift for this season. Like, the scene they drifted in Shibuya. Yeah, that's called massive vehicular manslaughter if you try to drift through Shibuya. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna have Kurt make 42 fastballs because I'm fucking insane. Oh, my Tokyo Drift's so bad. It's like... Also, I'm not, like, dropping a bunch of frames or anything, am I? Also, if the stream spontaneously dies and I don't come back, that means the ice either got my electricity or my internet. Man, fuck ice. I hate cold weather. I also hate hot weather. Okay, cool. 42. That's it. That's the meaning of life. Balls. If you watch Iit'S, I must warn you the first 2 seasons, because they do mention underage sex working. Stuff like that doesn't bother me in fiction, and it's also a thing in real life, so it's like... I'm not one of those people who gets upset when fiction tackles painful or hurtful, like, things, because, like, it's stuff that definitely shouldn't happen, but it's also stuff that needs to be brought to people's attention. I guess I should say I'm one of those people who, like, just because something makes me uncomfortable doesn't mean I never ever want to see it in a work of fiction. making sure it's discourse in the fandom, but it's like about it because it was a thing during the bubble era. Yeah. No, I know, like, bubble era Japan was really bad. Like, they're still bad about it, but it was, like, even worse back then of just, like, commodifying underage girls as, like, a product. It even still exists in idol culture, and that's honestly a really gross part of idol culture. I know calling parts of idol culture gross is really ironic when I'm a VTuber, but, like, I am the exact opposite of underage. I was alive during the bubble era. Well, the post-bubble era. I was alive in the 90s, but still. But it's also a thing you have to realize from a different mentality. I don't always think it's meant to be problematic, but you have to realize up until, like, hell, probably up until people my age, like, who were born in the 80s and 90s and stuff, prior to that, it was totally normal to get married at 17 or 18 or 19. I mean, hell, my mom, you know, like, she got together with my sperm donor when she was 19. From what I heard from my mom, some people don't even raise a brow. Nowadays, you have concerns, but we have zero means to solve it. Yeah, that's the other problem, is, like, as long as a product keeps selling, even if that product is a person's innocence, people will keep commodifying it. Because even if you stamp out the problem legally, then people will just use illegal means to access it, and then they're accessing it without regulation, so that just makes the problem even worse. Sent the Kanker Sister memes to you on Telegram, posted them on Blue Sky. Sweet, I'm gonna take a look. Oh my gosh, Maddie, those are amazing. Anyway, everybody go follow Houndoomed Yaoi on Blue Sky, because that's Maddie, and they make amazing art and everything. Like, these are flawless. You guys have to see these. Post the link here, yeah, go for it. That's why I get frustrated when people like, Japan doesn't care about pedophilia. Like, we do, but in trying to tackle it. You have to get rid of the ability to sell CP and incest content. Yeah, that too. If you're on Blue Sky and you're following me but not Maddie, like, what are you doing? Maddie's stuff is amazing. They have made, like, amazing art, as long as I've known them, of many flavors and styles. They've always been an inspiration to me, even all the way back in the days when they were training their Wii to fit you. Yeah. They recently got, Miitopia, so they've done, like, a whole bunch of cool custom Miis. Wife all three of them. Next question. It's so funny because they had a thing from a convention recently where they had the 3 voice actors for Ed, and Eddie. And specifically Eddie's voice actor right now just looks like what Eddie would look like as an adult. Because my Ed, and Eddie headcanon has always been that eventually the 3 Eds did marry their respective Kanker sisters when they all got older and mellowed out. What is the youngest one here? Do I have a fellow? Yeah, Maddie is in their mid-20s. No, I'm kidding. Maddie's never been mid. They're in their based 20s. Do not flinch my bones. Slash affectionate. Wait, Chip. Okay, go get Haunter. Leaving my mid-20s this year. I was gonna make a joke that, oh no, you won't be able to go on your parents' insurance anymore, but then I remembered you live in Japan, an actual, somewhat civilized country, where if you get sick, you can just go to the doctor and you won't have apocalyptic level financial ruin. Okay, put Sand Slash away and get Haunter. Put Sand Slash away and get Haunter. Bless you. I don't know if you heard the little kitten schnutzel. She's on my lap right now. I have, like, basically in a really big, soft, fluffy robe over my lap that I'm using as a blanket, and she's curled in with her paws tucked in. Oh, no, her paws aren't tucked in now. Look at you, little butt. Oh, I hit the mic. Ah! She reached up for me right when I said that. How privileged. No, if that was my sneeze, it would not have been a cute little snoot. My sneezes are like a freaking jet plane flying by. Stop slapping me. Eating chat, a bunch of stuff happened while I was trying to adjust this cap. I go through life assuming everyone's older than me since it was often true, so I guess it's 2 here too. The amount of people I catfished into thinking I was an adult in my teen years. Yeah, I'm an adult. I pay my mortgage. I smoke cigarettes like the rest of you. I love going to the DMV to vote. See, that's why it's this is an 18+ stream, because we're discussing adult topics. See, the thing is, Guru, it's not that Japan's particularly privileged in the regard of things like public transportation or just being able to go to the doctor when you need to. It's that America's fucking backwards. Everything is scaled for the billionaires and nobody else. Surprised minors don't do that nowadays. Like, my brain rotted. I lied about my age to look at once-ler porn. You know, I probably shouldn't judge. No, Maddie's right. That's a valid reason. I mean, everybody, the second they learn how to disable safe search, was looking at dicks or boobs or pussies or something. Like, Just joking about Japan being oh, okay. Sometimes it doesn't come out through text, and it especially doesn't come out on me sometimes because, you know, the soup of neurodivergencies in my brain. 2012 Guru Neko was a different person. I wasn't even Guru Neko at that time. Well, you were like Kohai Neko because you hadn't become a guru yet. Oh no, I should have added a little emote to sell it. It's okay. Neko, that's a joke character to make. Bone meringue. When I was little, I always thought bone meringue was a really awkwardly spelled name, and I was just like innocently like, why isn't it bonerang? And I'm just like, bonerang sounds way closer to boomerang. Why would they spell it so awkwardly? It's so funny, and she was right to say that. It's cute, though. Because there was that one, and I remember being really, really little when Toy Story was new. I don't even think I liked the movie that much. I was just, like, pulled into all the hype around the characters and all the marketing and stuff, because I was just a little kid. And so I wanted the full-size Buzz Lightyear and Woody, you know, because they had, like, full-size ones that were actually like the toys in the movie. You know, where, like, Buzz had all, like, the little features, like the wings and the little laser pointer and all that stuff. And the Woody one was actually, like, plush, with the plastic head and the pull string that would make all the noises and all that. And I distinctly remember being a little kid and seeing the Toy Story, like, the full-size toys in there, and going to my mom, like, I want the big Woody, and Mom's like, yeah, me too. And my only response was, she was, like, kind of cheeky about it, like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, well, why don't you get it then? Question mark, question, like, very innocent. Yeah, my mom was always super cool. She is eternally based. Hi, Tochi. How are you doing today on this lovely, chilly Sunday evening? We're just grinding on Pokemon Crystal, filling up fat decks. Hope you can get all cozy, everybody. Me too, I'm starting that. It apostrophe. I'm guessing you hit send a little early. It's good to see you stream. Yeah, I've been streaming at least 3 days a week for most weeks. I ended up taking... I usually do like Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I try to squeeze in a Saturday or Friday in there when I can. I ended up taking Thursday off this week because I was just like really tired and lethargic and I was just having a hard time doing anything. But I spent most of today asleep because I accidentally got a day off from work. Because everything was frozen over and they told nobody to come in today. So I am actually feeling a good bit better. I got some real sleep. You see, I'm also off from Job Tuesday, and I'm kind of secretly hoping maybe Monday they'll tell me not to come in too. I can just get like 3 days off. kind of work do you do? I really don't like to talk about my job on Steam. It's just lame, boring stuff. Nothing interesting. Nothing I want to do. It's just the first job that paid okay, and I took it for money. Because, like, this right here, like, the streaming and my art and writing and voice acting, that's my actual real job. That's why I call this other one job, is because, it's not my real career. It's the job I have to do to make sure I can keep the lights on and buy food. I remember thinking my mom was lame for not letting me have the useless shit that I want. Thinking back then, she was totally valid. Like I said, my mom, like, opened my third eye when I was little, because I had a, Super NES, Super Famicom, but I wanted Sonic, because I was obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, I say that in past tense, but I still am. But, you know, like, even back then, I was crazy about Sonic. I wanted all the comic books. I watched both of the, cartoons. I had, like, well, I still have them somewhere in storage. VHS tapes of all the cartoons. And, like, I was crazy for Sonic, but I was also crazy for Super Mario. And I was like, I wish Sonic was on Nintendo. And my mom's like, it probably will be someday. But she was right. But I remember being like, I want a Sega so I can play Sonic. And okay, you have to keep in mind, in the 90s back then, they had layaway at Walmart and stuff, like, all year round. So you could put stuff on layaway anytime. You just have a limited time to pay it off. Because, like, basically if you didn't pay it off within the time frame, they'd give you your money back, minus, like, a percentage restocking fee or whatever. And my mom was like, you know, because and when my mom would buy me something, instead of saying, oh, you can have one thing today, she'd be like, okay, this is your budget for getting something if you want. You can get as many things as you want, but you can't go over budget. And I'm like, okay. And the thing is, one day I asked my mom, if I don't get anything today, can I just add that money to next time? And my mom's like, yeah, you can do that. And then, like, I saved that up and saved it the next week, and I'm like, I really want a Sega. And my mom's like, well, you could just, instead of getting yourself something, you could wait and use all the money you would spend on toys and candy and stuff, and just put that toward your Sega if you put it on layaway. And I'm just like, which is actually brilliant, because not only did I get my Genesis with Sonic 2, but it's weird because I, like, almost stopped buying toys. Not completely, but, like, instead of having a bunch of toys, I instead realized I could just keep putting games on layaway or saving up for them. Sounds like a scam, I don't know. It's crazy because, like, I was, like, single-digit years old and my mom had already taught me how to budget. Because I think my mom caught on early that I had, like, the special interest in video games, because that's something that's always been there. Like, I liked a lot of other stuff, you know, like cartoons and stuff like that. So precious, a healthy way to teach kids how to budget. Like I said, it, like, opened my third eye, because, like, so many kids, and I feel like a lot of people carry this into adulthood when they leave the home and stuff, as soon as they have money, they just blow through it. Like, having money in your bank account is a challenge or something. You have to, like, spend all of it. Yeah, like, my mom, I think she caught early, even though, like I said, there wasn't as much mental health stuff, and it wasn't as widely discussed back then. I mean, my mom caught at least the fact that, like, video games spoke to me in a different way. So a lot of times she thought about, she thought, like, well, you know, because, like, one thing is, like, whenever I saw arcade machines, I always wanted to play them. But they were 25 cents and then 50 cents and all that stuff. And my mom's like, well, okay, but that'll come out of your budget. And I'm like, oh. She's like, remember, after you put the coin in, whenever you lose the game or beat it, you don't get to play it after that unless you put in another coin. And I was like, wouldn't it be smarter if you just set that money aside and bought the game for your Super Nintendo? Which, you know, like, she was playing stuff like Street Fighter and stuff like that, which had a Super Nintendo version. She's like, every time you think about playing an arcade game, just set that quarter aside instead. It had the interesting side effect of, despite being a kid in the 90s, I barely played any arcade games for exactly that reason, but I played a lot of their Super Nintendo versions. Me and your mom gives great money advice. It actually is really good advice, though. Hello, it's me, Alan. My Tangle is getting stronger, exactly as I calculated. By the way, a wild Bellsprout escaped on me yesterday. A computational error on my part. See you later! See, that's her thing. My mom was both book smart and money smart. But she was also raising a child on her own, so she had to be smart with money. Like, she didn't have a choice. But it's one of those things I am so infinitely glad she instilled in me from an early age. Because it was so funny. By the time I was like 18, 20, my mom would literally hand me her debit card and just let me go. She's like, pick up groceries. You know, she'd give me lists and stuff, but she'd be like... And I remember, like, another person around her age, like, I think it was, like, one of the parents of a kid I went to school with, they were like, how can you just hand your kid your card and tell them to do the grocery shopping? What if they spend all your money? And Mom's like, what do you mean? My kid is gotten better at clipping coupons and saving money than I have at this point. That kids use debit cards without supervision. My mom trusted me. Because she knew I understood that if I blew all her money, then that means we have no electricity. And we can't buy anything else. She instilled that with me very early, that all of that money comes out of the same pool. And actually, yes, kids use debit. Well, I wasn't really a kid. Like I said, I was like 18 to 20-ish. This is like years later. But yeah, they were a lot less strict on that back then, too. Yeah, like by the time I was 18, 20, that's practically a toddler. I mean, it kind of is, actually. It's that age where you think you're all grown up now, and then when you, like, hit 30, you look back and you're like, damn, I sure was baby. Looks like I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. Yeah, I get about, like, being 18 or 19 and talking about stuff you shouldn't, and I think I didn't hit the button and mute the mic properly, so you guys got to hear me blow my nose. Congratulations. But I mean, like, I can kind of get it because, like, you just came off being a teenager and you graduated from high school, so, like, you feel like you've already solved life. I feel like that's why there are so many people who get to, like, 24 or 25 and feel like their life is over if they didn't make it already. Which, you know, obviously that's bullshit. But for a lot of people, that gets instilled in them in a really young age. Because I was one of those 18-year-old brats, but it's annoying to deal with them now. I mean, I feel like if you've ever been one of those people, or not just for that reason, but for, like, any kind of person, you, like, that was kind of a butthead, you kind of despise it even more because you know what it's like to be that and feel that, and it's like, you hate that you were that, and you're glad that you got over it. So when you see it in other people, you're like, oh, fuck this asshole. Because that's the thing, is like, a person has to live with themselves 24/7. And there's always the bridge between self-awareness and self-betterment, where you just feel like you're a shithead and you have no control over yourself, which obviously isn't true. Neither thing's true. A lot of shitheadedness just comes from literally not knowing any better because you're young. And your worldview's limited, and your understanding is limited. But you also don't have the experience to give yourself those excuses or affordances, so you just kind of hate yourself for a little while. Well, not excuses, but rather those affordances and that kind of patience. Because you learn that you want to be better, but you don't have the realization that you're only partway through the journey. We're all only partway through the journey all the time. And really, the only thing we can always reliably do is try to be a better person than who we were yesterday. Another annoying age to deal with is 21-year-olds who graduated vocational school. I always feel really bad for people who, like, believe that they've solved life at, like, 20 or something, and they never come out of that belief. That's why I think you get so many jaded, burnt-out people in their 30s and 40s. Especially when they get to the point where they, like, still think they had life figured out, but it all falls apart or messes up or things don't go how they thought. This cat is curled into a ball on my lap. I just accidentally hit the table with my controller. You know, I met some 30-year-olds like that, and it's miserable talking to them. The amount of fucking times I've had people who are 27 or 28, you know, talk to me about their divorce and all the stuff they've been through, and then they turn to me and they're like, well, when you get to my age, you'll understand. And I'm like, do I tell them I'm getting close to 40? No, it's so funny because, like, my mom spent all of her 60s having people just assume she was in her late 40s. Like, the only tell was that, like, her bangs started going silver. The thing is, it was only her bangs, so she would have, like, you know, like, reddish-brown hair with silver bangs. I'm like, great, Mom, you look more like an anime protagonist. Gonna catch the bingy butt disease. Is bingy butt short for binge over and put it in the butt? Because that's like a third of Guru Neko's art minimum. Join the look younger than you actually are club. It's fun. It's amazing what a little, actually taking care of yourself and not smoking and not drinking can do for you. Sure. Bones. It's whacking time. Oh, the bone spin, that is slick. Big bones. Look at her. So tough. Ah, that makes sense since I never touch alcohol because they're yucky and doesn't match my need for sweeties. That must be why you're such a sweetie. No, that's the thing is, like, I never understood why people would want to get wasted and they're like, oh, it's so fun, you know, I'm like, why would I want to lose complete control of my faculties? And, you know, they'd say, oh, it's so fun, and then they'd, like, turn around and vomit. Like, why would I want to lose control of my faculties when I could be relaxing at home with my PlayStation 2 playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3? Or, I guess, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Neo for you, Guru. Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, alcohol fucks you up, and it also makes you gain weight because you're just drinking, like, freaking liquid bread, and your body processes bread as sugar. I'm afraid of losing myself to substances because I tend to be delulu, and I can't handle that. Well, the thing is, like, I've tried getting drunk once-ish, and Mom and I both had really good metabolism. I still kind of do, which is obnoxious because, like, I'm not trying to be TMI, but it does result in going to the bathroom more than most people do. But both Mom and I had fast metabolism, so I went straight from... I got maybe, like, 5 or 6 minutes of feeling dizzy and silly, but I basically went straight from drinking the alcohol to having a hangover, with none of the crazy fun in between. So I just drank a lot of alcohol, had a fucking headache, had to go to the bathroom for a long time, felt overheated, and then it just completely sucked. There was no fun for it. Like I said, that may be different now because, you know, I'm older, and I'm sure my metabolism slowed down, because this is like back when I was in my mid-20s or something. But why? I don't want to do that. Alright, Bones. You can chill for a little while. But not there. You can chill for a little while. Oops. Yeah, I don't think we got to talk to you yet. Let's go ahead and level up Mounds. Taxi gods. Oh my gosh, I forgot Diglett has a bespoke sprite. That's so cute. Ding-da! It's funny how people think I'm high or drunk when I've never touched the stuff. It's just having a personality. Well, okay, here's the thing. Most people, not most people, but a lot of people that would say that kind of thing are the exact people who do not have a personality without substances. Because they probably do have a real personality deep down in there, but it's been so deeply and thoroughly suppressed that they're almost never themselves. People like that tend to get really, really freaking angry at anybody who's whimsical or enjoys themselves or is silly or anything like that. So, like, I have a very large and thorough hatred for people who will be like anything creative or weird or like unusual. They'll be like, oh man, what kind of drugs were they on when they came up with that? Like, none. It's called having an idea. It's called being a silly little bean. You look at art and assume the artist is... Yeah, exactly. Like, bro, no, it's called having a creativity. The drug of life! I kid you not, even though I know I played Final Fantasy on Tuesday, I have been thinking since last Sunday about Bones and wanting to level her up so she could finally be a Marowak. Life will make you creative, let me tell you that. see, when you're young, you always assume that, like, oh, it's, you know, spite and rage against the world that'll make you have your peak of creativity. No, it's actually just being horny. Don't see a lot of people being creative after they die. So true. Bro, the 100% poison chance. Horny makes you creative. I don't know how many people I know who hate porn have the most boring art style. The thing is, a lot of porn haters are also, like, human body haters. So they, like, don't want to study anatomy. Because, like, I've got nothing against asexuals or anything. I love my asexual homies. But they're not the people with that problem. It's people who are not asexual who are anti-erotic, anti-horny, whatever, and it's like, if you don't want to participate in it, that's fine. But this vendetta feels more like repression. So like I said, there are plenty of ace people. The funniest thing is, like, a lot of the ace people I know will be the first person to crack a sex joke, or make a joke about dicks or something. Not always sex repulsed, they just see it a different way. Yeah, exactly. It's like a whole spectrum. And that, and like I said, you don't always have to be horny for sex, you know. I think I've mentioned this before on Steam, but, you know, you could just be somebody who's really horny for cars, or machinery, or computing, or something, you know, just, like, be passionate. Maybe I'm closed-minded, but I don't think ace don't feel anything for sexual acts. See it in a different way, weird condition to see it as. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of ace people, because, like I said, it is a broad spectrum, that, like, really engage with and enjoy sex. They just won't go seeking it out. They won't think about it. But, you know, like, if their partner's like, hey, babe, I was kind of thinking about... And, like, yeah, sure, sounds cool. Let's go. They'll get into it and enjoy it in the moment, and then it just leaves them. They're just... Like I said, but it's a spectrum. Like, some people who are ace are repulsed and don't want to engage with it whatsoever. And that's totally valid, too. The thing is, like, I feel like a lot of people who... Like I said, I'm not talking about people who are sex repulsed, but people who are just, like, angrily about the idea of sex or sexuality coming up in anything ever. I feel like those people have have an actual issue. Like, something that they've been through, something that's hurt them, that they need to work through. Basically, a massage. Not everyone likes getting massages, others like it only from certain people, etc. That's valid as well. That part, yeah. Took me way too long to realize I'm Demi because of this. I feel like Demi is always something that that people have a hard time with, because you're like, you know, you'll have, you know, your friends going like, oh, this person's so fucking hot, rah, 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 and you're like, I mean, yeah, they are, but... And then you're like, oh, maybe I'm just not into, you know, maybe I'm not into this gender, or maybe I'm not into that gender, or maybe I am asexual, but then you'll find somebody and then they'll just be driving you wild just by existing, and you're like, oh. You know, like, I feel like Demi is one of the hardest ones to kind of unpack, especially because, like, I feel like it gets treated in a lot of the same ways, like, the bisexual and pansexual, like, has issues with, is, like, if you're not in some kind of extreme, people don't want to acknowledge your existence. When, you know, 99% of the population is going to be somewhere around the middle of a spectrum, very few people are going to be an extreme in anything. It's annoying. I don't know how many times I've switched between bi to pan. Well, my personal interpretation is, with bisexual, you're attracted to both masculine and feminine, and to me, pansexual, you're attracted. Things like masculinity and femininity are afterthoughts, if that makes any sense. I know that seems like I'm kind of splitting hairs, but that's my personal interpretation and why I usually refer to myself as pansexual. It's hard to observe even in yourself, yeah. Because bisexual doesn't mean you're necessarily only attracted to men and women. Like, there are plenty of bisexual people who are hot for, like, non-binary people and stuff like that. But again, like, it mostly comes down to the person and how they personally define themselves, because, like, you gotta keep in mind, labels are not a prison. They're just flavor text. You're trying the best you can to use language to explain something you feel, but those feelings will remain abstract, and what language means to one person or another isn't always going to be identical. So sometimes extra explanation's needed, and sometimes people don't deserve an explanation at all. Sometimes it just isn't anybody's business. Alright, now we're in business. I hate when I repeat the same word in different sentences because the word's on my mind because I just use it. It's nobody's business, but now we're in business. Because I think the whole labels are not a prison, language is not a prison, definitions are not a prison, is something that a lot of people have a hard time coping with. But you don't have to mold yourself to fit anything, so how about sucking dick and cock? I mean, honestly, it's so cold right now. If there were any near me, I don't think they'd... I'd even be able to see them. Because, like, I have 2 heaters going in my house, and it's still freaking cold. For me, in every aspect of my identity, the thing that represents me most is the formless concept and emotion. Labels never feel like a part of me, more so ways to help people understand, I guess. Yeah. I forgot they're like turtles, they hide from the cold. That's one thing that kind of does irritate me a little bit in, you know, like, it's not that big of a deal. But it's one of those things that always, like, strikes me weird, is how a lot of times, you know, like, erotic art of penis owners, like, the dick will be flaccid, but it's still, like, fully the same size it is erect. Which is like, no, like, there are plenty of times when, you know, somebody will have, like, you know, just big, giant, throbbing thing, and then, like, when it calms down and they're just in chill resting mode, it's just this tiny little, dinky little thing of a bobber. I mean, I get it, because we've mentioned this before, but, you know, when you want to draw a dick, you tend to overscale them slightly because you really wanted to draw a dick, so you want to get in there and draw the details and stuff like that. And drawing a big, long, floppy thing hanging down to somebody's knees, it's fine. That's fine. like I said, I've always said draw your truth. But, like, I feel like the more realistic and less erotic a picture is intended to be, the more distracting it is. Because I'm also all for, even if it's completely exposed, non-erotic nudity. Because you're not always horny and you're not always having sex, but you are always in your body. I mean, drawing, like, vagina owners, like, it also gets hit because, like, you know, there'll be times when, like, and this does vary from person to person, obviously, you know, have a girl just chilling, resting, and sitting there or something, you know, just, like, they're, like, playing a video game or something like that. And, you know, like, the vagina will just be completely open and you can see the clitoris and everything, and it's like, sometimes maybe, but most of the time that thing's just gonna be like the freaking cowrie shell, just like, because, like, I guess it's just because women's anatomy or just like old vagina owners' anatomy doesn't get discussed as much. But, like, you know, like, the pussy has, like, flaccid and aroused phases also. Boy, this one ain't getting monetized on YouTube. Smiley dick is sometimes hotter to me. Honestly, same. Love a good plastic dick. I love the wiggles. Oh, the wiggles are peak. Though honestly, hilariously, we're discussing this while I'm training Diglett, who is canonically 8 inches. Does do have an erection, but it's not noticeable. Yeah, it just puffs up. But even so, there's, like, so much art I've seen that's, like, you know, like, either the pussy's in attack mode, like, 24/7, or they're having sex and somehow it's just, like, not puffing out at all. Attack mode. 7th, I swear, the moment I start talking about anything saucy, it summons you. I'm so sorry. You're like, of all the people who show up in here, I think you're the only one who's, like, remotely say-so. At least in your YouTube, like, content creation, so it's always so funny. But, hey, 7th, how are you doing today? I hope you're not too sore or anything. I know you've been shoveling snow literally all day. Also, after your stream yesterday, I admit I almost didn't stream today because, like, I had the urge to just play Ark-Rise Fantasia all day. That game is so freaking good. It's like a fly trapper just snaps at it. Oh, Guru, you don't need to apologize. I would not have you any other way than who you are. Yeah, how you doing today, 7th? Like I said, I hope you're not too exhausted or worn out, because, gosh, shoveling snow for, like, what, 7 or 8 hours today? That sucks. I mentioned it earlier for everyone else on the stream, but I ended up getting a day off from work today because everything's ice over. Not sore, definitely coming down with fever. Damn it, that sucks, dude. I'm so sorry. And again, it is getting sick season. Yeah, I've been trying my best to stay warm. Even with all my heaters on, it is still cold in my house. I should know because instead of, like, flipping around in circles and going crazy, Dot is just curled up into a ball in my lap. I actually tried covering Dot up with the robe that I'm wearing, like, just have her covered on my lap. But she wasn't comfy with it, so I just let her sit on top of the robe. Now you see, Guru, the real fly trap technique is you gotta hit them with that leg lock when they're almost finished. It's like, you thought you had a full-out game, you naive fool. Me and Miguel giving him another child. You see, that's why you have to survive to the year 2099. Oh, actually, Seventh, since you're here, like, since you're the person with, like, the most experience with, like, streaming and video making and stuff like that, I was wondering if you could help me, because I keep meaning to ask you, but I keep forgetting. And I think it's probably been deleted from my archives now, but I had one thing where, like, me and Guru were trying to troubleshoot, giving my my computer to play nice with both my AverMedia capture card and my microphone, and, like, it either wouldn't pick up my mic at all, or it would only use the mic from the capture card, which sounded like I was underwater. And it wouldn't start picking up my mic until I completely unplugged the capture card from my computer. Because in well, I'm talking about in OBS specifically. Because when I wasn't on OBS, my computer still recognized the mic and the capture card as separate input devices. Yeah, I'm using OBS. But it was reading both as, like, a microphone input. And so, like, I would either have it, like, I could talk, but my game was mute, or it would have the game audio, but then I couldn't talk into my mic. And, like, you know, I have a lot of stuff on my PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, Wii U that I would very much like to stream. And someday in the far future, when I've become a millionaire from streaming and all that stuff, because I'm very cute and everyone's gonna give me lots of money, then I also would like to get, like, either an OSSC or a FrameMeister or something in that vein. So I can hook up my retro stuff and just play off of real hardware instead of having to use emus. As much as I do like my large flightless birds. Oh shit, I don't think I taught Haunter anything that can hit a normal type. Oh fuck shit balls, this thing has bite. Goodbye. You usually have to set up different audio sources in OBS. So one to pick up the capture card and one for the mic. Okay. Would that be over there in the audio mixer section? Yeah. Mixer section? Mixer section. Listen, I'm still working on my voice training. Some words are still hard in this voice. Also, my apologies to everyone used to me talking in the soft, cute voice for the jump scare. But I feel like most of you shown up for enough of my voice acting in the streams that it doesn't shock you that much. Like, if you could, like... Mixer section isn't a combo of words you stumble across often. I am somehow very, somehow managed to always stumble into unusual word combinations. I mean, it just sounded like your male character voice, so it didn't shock me as much. Well, that's what I mean. Like, you've heard me voice act enough and stuff like Final Fantasy V. It just sounded like Bart's just came in and grabbed my mic for a sec. Yeah, it's just like, hey, do you think this mouse girl's ever gonna actually stream more than 2 or 3 days a week so we can get through the rest of our game? Thought you were joking. I mean, sometimes I do feel like I have to switch voices to speak clearly. I always get so many compliments at work about my voice because like, oh, you should be in radio. You should do voice acting. I mean, that second one, kind of already am. But it's like, my voice sounds good enough to be for radio because I've honed this fake boy voice for my entire life.
It's me, Gavin. What are you doing? My victory bell might be greater than I imagined. I doubt I'll see a victory bell that's better than mine. Oh, and I managed to barely defeat Raticate the other day. I've never seen a Raticate get that strong. You shouldn't let your guard down, even against a Pokemon you're used to seeing. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Click.
I don't know why I'm surprised all the greatest VAs are trans. They spend their entire lives training for it. Yeah, I mean, like, it's crazy because I was recently playing Valkyrie Profile for the first-ish time. Because it was on sale on PlayStation Network for like $10, and I've always wanted to play it. Even though I have the PSP version, something about playing PS1 games on a little tiny screen just never really works out for me. Yeah, I was playing Valkyrie Profile, and in the English version, it's mostly like 4Kids voice actors. Though, you know, the game came out in 2000, so they'd still done some Pokemon stuff, but they've also done a lot of stuff outside of 4Kids. But no, like, there's this big, gruff mercenary guy, and I'm like, that is Maddie Blaustein. And it's crazy because, like, one voice actress did the English voices for Meowth, Yugi's grandpa in Yu-Gi-Oh! She did Sartorius, or Sayo, in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. And it's so crazy because she'll do all these different voices and none of them sound like each other. I only recognized her as the gruff mercenary guy. I apologize, I can't remember his name right now. I only recognized him as the gruff mercenary guy because she used like the same, similar to the voice she used later for Sartorius in GX. It's weird because, like, even though I've always done funny little voices for my entire life, even when I was younger, it's weird because, like, the more I practice voice training, I can actually feel where the voices are in like different parts of my throat and stuff. I'm the throat whisperer. Is this what it means to be the throat goat? Oh my god. Yugi's grandpa's trans? Damn, completed this transition so well. I mean, there was that one Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged episode, where, like, you know, like, they replaced all the words with vagina, and he was like, ah, yes, this is a picture of my treasured vagina! And so, like, there you go, it was confirmed all along, because obviously the Abridged series is canon. It was like the one. It was super duper early on. Like they had just started. Like he had just started Duelist Kingdom when he did that episode. So it was like, you gotta keep in mind, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series is almost 20 years old. Okay, capture card. It's yeah, it's USB. It's regular USB, but I think it's 3.0. I literally have it right here beside me. It's a matter of tweaking your settings. It's probably one of those things I need to sit down and actually watch a YouTube video for and actually put in the effort. Nobody told me there'd be effort involved. If it doesn't end up working, it might be a USB audio bandwidth problem. I do wonder, because, like, I have this weird issue, like, with my multi-monitor cable. Okay, because keep in mind, my computer is off the shelf. It is not a custom PC I built. I had to watch a bunch of tutorials to figure out OBS. I had to watch a lot of tutorials when I started, because, like, I didn't have a job. I was just doing everything, like, work-from-home stuff. So I had time to look over tutorials and troubleshoot and all that. My problem is I have to not get impatient. Well, no, I have this weird issue, like, okay, my computer's got, like, 2 USB-A ports and a USB-C port in front. And then in the back, it's got 4 USB-C ports. But the thing is, like, now that I didn't have this problem before, but now with my multi-monitor cable hooked up to the back port, if I plug in my wireless computer and mouse combo to one of the back ports, it, like, lags really bad, especially the mouse. Because right now, oh gosh, I hope I muted the mic properly for that sneeze. But, right now my front ports have my dongle for the, keyboard and mouse combo, my GameSir controller, and my, I'm fairly sure that's a USB bandwidth problem. But it's weird because, like, when I plug it into the front, it works fine. Like I said, right now I got, like, my hard drive, which is plugged into USB-C. It's an external hard drive. The controller I'm using and my dongle for my keyboard and mouse. Though the controller, like, I'll just plug the AverMedia into the controller port, because initially I was, like, really stressed about it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna need to use my controller to play PC games while I'm using the capture card, because I'm not gonna be playing the game from my PC. I think that comes from the same neurodivergent space as wanting, like, every game downloaded at all times. I want everything plugged in at all times. Because, like, I've gotten better about this because I've actually been kind of, like, training myself, hopefully, to overcome it at least a little. But especially when I'm tired, like, if there's something I want to do and it takes it longer than it does for Tengu Man to take a trip to Arby's, then I've already forgotten what I'm doing. No, jokes aside, like, I feel like your stream 7th is an example of when people say, like, oh, you know, this controller, just I can't play the game with this controller. It's like, if anybody says that's, like, people just johnsing, no, it's legit, because the difference between, like, you fighting Tengu Man trying to use the GameCube controller with its god-awful control scheme from Anniversary Collection versus you just having a normal, natural PS1 control scheme, because, like, you schooled Tengu Man when you were playing it on PS1. Like, no problem. The Mega Man 8 in general is just a wonderful, wonderful game. It's like, I want to play all of the classic Mega Man games in order, but you don't know how tempted I've been to just jump straight to 7 and 8, especially now that I have a PC version of Anniversary Collection 2. Or Legacy Collection 2, I'm sorry. Involuntarily winced at the Anniversary Collection. But I promise you it's a lot easier to play on Xbox or PS2. Though again, it's like, it's not until like now, like I have so much nostalgia for it, but it's not until now I realize just how like cursed Anniversary Collection, especially on GameCube, is compared to the modern collections. And it's so annoying because it's the only localized version of the Rockman Complete Works. I mean, you can buy the PS1 versions of the Complete Works digitally on like PS3 and Vita and stuff, but they're just still untranslated. There's something about Mega Man EXE I've been being amazed about the internet. Like, even in the OP they mentioned the lyrics, if we don't know something, we can just look it up on the net. It's wholesome. I mean, like, I think we've become desensitized to it for how prevalent the internet is in our lives, but it still amazes me when I think about it, because it's just like, I'll be stumped on something and I'm like, oh wait, that's right, I have the compendium of all human knowledge at my fingertips. The internet really did kind of have that distinct mystique back then. Like, the stark jump from our current depiction of the internet, like, Gen X was so excited for it. Like I said, the internet still has a lot of magic and stuff like that, it's just... as soon as corporations realized something that could be profitable, it got shitty. Because I know a lot of times, though, internet and discourse and stuff will be depicted as some kind of, like, awful hellscape where people go to post the worst opinions, but it's like, that's not really all there is to it. That's not even a fraction of it. It's just what's thrown in our faces so much because discourse earns companies profit. They want you to stay engaged. They want you to be part of the marketing machine. They want you to stay active in discourse. But once you escape that, you realize, like, the internet's still full of magic and exciting stuff. I mean, heck, literally every one of my friends that I know right now, like, I have, of all my friends, there's literally, like, 2 that are not people I met on the internet. I can do is contribute stuff I'd like to see, I suppose. Well, that's everything, is like, you know, if we actually can all grow up and learn to ignore discourse pieces and rage bait and all that stuff, which is hard. I fall into it sometimes too, I'm not perfect. But like, if we can all try our best, eventually that stuff will die out because it stops being profitable. You know, I've said it before, but like, I don't use social media for the PvP. I just want to have fun and enjoy stuff. And I feel like with your videos, 7th Force, like, your love of everything you discuss in your videos, even their flaws, always comes through. And I think that's why it gravitates towards such a positive community. Because, like, rage bait stuff will get a lot of attention quickly, but you'll also attract people who want to be angry. Whereas, like, high-quality stuff that focuses on enjoyment and positivity will grow slowly, but you'll grow a community that'll stay. You'll grow a community that'll flourish. You know, you'll attract people who want to enjoy stuff. They want to share your joy, even if it's something they know nothing about. Like, hell, 60% of what I know about Marvel, I learned from your videos. I'm not specifically Marvel vs. Capcom in the colloquial sense of calling it Marvel, but I mean, like, actual Marvel comics and the stories and the characters and stuff. And I think that's awesome, because, like, you know, like, I'm happy to have fostered a really cool audience. Me included. Ooh, definitely gone another way. And again, that's why I think so much of what you create has such solid staying power, because you're creating what you love. And I mean, I'm so lucky because, like, I know I get very chatty and I go into some, like, harsher topics when I'm yapping on stream sometimes, because whatever I'm thinking just kind of comes out of my mouth sometimes, teehee. But, like, I am so grateful to have all the people who watch my videos, because, yeah, a lot of people are just people I already knew, and I'm grateful to know them. But it's like, you know, the core, like, 10 or 15 people who consistently show up, like, you guys are awesome. And a lot of you people really have become my, like, real friends. And that's amazing to me that you guys always want to show up and hear me yap over a video game. Especially because, like, I don't have a lot of the nice stuff like emotes, and I don't have an on-screen model yet. And it means a lot to me. Things are always cozy. Glad I started. I'm glad you did too. It's still kind of crazy to me a little bit, like, because I know you're like a person just like anybody else, but it's like, as someone who gets YouTube as a majority of my entertainment, having someone who makes one of my favorite videos just want to show up and, like, hang out in my streams is pretty amazing to me. Because I apologize, I feel like the first time you showed up in a stream, I, like, almost fell backwards, getting a little bit, like, I don't know if starstruck's the right word, but it's just like, it was cool. And I'm glad you enjoy your time here hanging out. Hi? Oh no, you don't need to apologize. It's more like one of those, I don't even know how... It's like seeing somebody who's like a news anchor or something going shopping. Just like regularly going shopping in the grocery store or something. It's like it's like the people on the TV, you know, you forget that, oh yeah, it's just a regular person. Which, like, obviously I am one of those people on the TV now. So, like, I kind of get it more, but especially back then, because I was still kind of early in my streaming journey. It's like, oh yeah, that's just a regular person. They make videos, and they're really good videos, but you know. Because, thing is, I've never really been to, like, conventions or anything like that. It's almost more like everybody online feels like they're always impossibly far away. It was the same thing because one of my best friends, Kubi Farfay, aka Whip, like, in 2017, I went, like, because I live on the east coast of the US, And I went over to her. I went all the way to, like, I think it was like Arkansas or Oklahoma. I don't remember exactly which state. But, you know, we like drove out there for her wedding, and it was like a 14-hour drive. But, like, just seeing her and, you know, her husband, Vim, who also is, like, a person I'd known for a long time. Just in person, it's like, this isn't just someone I talked to on the internet. Like, this is a real person. And I feel like that's something that gets forgotten a lot when people get into online discourse and stuff. It's just like, they forget that the person on the other side of the message you're replying to, the person on the other side of that video, is not a machine. They're not a robot. They're not an NPC. That's a real human being over there with a life and feelings and stuff. Because I feel like people who aren't engaged in anything creative, I don't think that's why they don't understand how harmful AI can be. Because from their perspective, and never having engaged in creating anything, they don't see the difference between typing a prompt and putting in that effort. Because to them, the end result looks the same, and all they see is an end result. But then again, like, that's another thing that I think is a problem in a lot of media creative spaces that are powered by capitalism, is the overall obfuscation of the creative process. I'm sorry, this went into something way too serious again. But, like, I think the overall obfuscation of the creative process and the attempt to keep the people who create something, like, in the background and not distract you from the thing you're looking at or whatever, has kind of, like, culminated in the AI issue. But it's also made it feel like, oh, the thing is not only, ooh, it's magic, look at this wonderful magical TV show that appeared out of nowhere from your friends at company. But it has also contributed to the issue of, like, people thinking that the creative process is far beyond anything they could ever hope to achieve. Which is completely untrue, because anything ever created was created by a regular person who eats and sleeps and puts their clothes on and stuff. Honestly, doing the whole video thing helped me make friends that I eventually met IRL. It really reinforces that there are people behind every phone and PC screen. For me, the people who put themselves out there are also included in the people who don't understand the weight of their words. They're afraid of the very thing that stops them from sharing their craft.
Sorry, see, quillfish are biting like there's no tomorrow. Over here on Route 32. One jabbed me. Hey, there's some kind of feisty. Mots, you gotta see this rare sight. Get ready to fish. Tell your mom sometimes too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, a lot of people will be like, oh, my story's lame, my story is cringe. And then they'll be like, every story is cringe. You don't realize it's cringe because you watched it when you were 7. And you're like, dude, you know, freaking Goku and Pikachu and Super Mario were somebody's OCs. What about your mom? I sometimes listen to your mom sometimes too. Oh no, Ralph the fisherman, since he's an old guy, he always ends all his calls with call your mom sometimes too. Kind of reminding you to remember your parents and stuff like that. I mean, I could call my mom, but it's a real chore digging the Ouija board out from the closet. At this point, it's not a rare sight. But he made a your mom joke. I don't even think your mom jokes are that much of a thing in 2000, 2001. Robbie is very cringe, but he's my cringy edgelord. Well, I mean, what is the creation of a story but taking the cringiest parts of yourself, turning them into whole people, and then making them go through a lot of angst and then fuck? the surfer voice made me think it was a your mom joke. Ding. That does remind me, both the only your mom joke I've ever really found funny and the only joke in Billy and Mandy I've ever found funny is when they were doing like a Dragon Ball parody or whatever, and it was like a tournament thing. And there's this big tough bully guy or whatever that Mandy's fighting. He's like, "Got anything to say for yourself?" And Mandy's all like, "Your mother has a full-time job is a well-respected member of the community." He's like, "Nobody says that about my mother!" I don't like, I'm not dissing anybody liking it, but something like with Billy and Mandy rubs me the wrong way in the same way that Invader Zim does. And I can't quite explain it. Again, no dissing anybody who likes either of those, and they definitely both have, like, positive qualities and all that, but... When your mom drank food, it's like brought a spoon to the Super Bowl. It's like, I mean, okay, but the thing is, bringing a spoon to a giant bowl is inherently funny anyway. Now, my favorite Super Bowl joke is moving the bee over and having it be Superb Owl, and just everybody posting pictures of Rowlet. No, the actual funny part of the joke is just the idea of it just being a gigantic bowl. In general, I've always found, like, the root of fatphobic jokes weird, because it's just, like, completely grounded in misinformation, as most people who have issues with their weight tends to be like a genetic or underlying issue. I mean, most people I know who were like had weight problems didn't eat enough. I knew nothing about Super Bowls, I would bring a spoon too. But no, unfortunately it's just American football, which is of course the world's most heterosexual sport. That's why they all get naked and take showers together and slap each other's asses, and it's about a bunch of men piling on top of each other and ramming into each other in the pursuit of... balls. Yay, bombs! Speaking of, while I'm pretty sure that Diglett can 1v1 this Entei, it's probably still gonna be faster. Phobic elder brother quit football because he's gay that they tackle each other. Homophobes are like... Being homophobic is gayer than being actually gay, because you're thinking about gay stuff all the time. I'd say that brother's gayer than my actual gay brother. I know I've been staring at this Entei for a solid minute, but I have made zero progress because this thing always pops up when I'm training something low level and I can't switch. Fuck it. Entei came back from milk. Fuck it, I'm throwing my heavy balls at ya. Fuck. She'll stay for a few months. Alright. No. Do you think he can milk Entei? Does he have udders? Can I drink from them? Well, I mean, we don't have any evidence that he doesn't. I mean, like, male Go-Goat in the later Pokemon games can still learn Milk Drink, so... Wake me up before you go, goat. Don't leave me hanging here like a Wiimote. Forget about that move. It's funny that everybody gets stuck on Miltank when they're younger because the game basically gives you a Machop for free. So that's like, it's a fighting type, so it's super effective. And it's a female Machop. It'll be a female 100% of the time. So Miltank can't use Attract on it. God, if only God was freaky and let men be milked. Actually, even, lactation can be induced even in cisgendered men. Oh, didn't know that? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's what makes, like, people being weird about gender so funny, because scientifically, the line is razor thin. That's the thing, you just take some funny drug and, you know, like, either if you were born a girl, you know, you can get a deep voice and get hairy and you're basically a man now, or take a funny drug if you were born male and, well, now you're not getting as much hair and you got boobies. It's like, all humans are constantly on the razor's edge of being anything. And most of us are born and usually spend most of our lives sitting in a nice little somewhere in between spot on the either end of the spectrum. No, it's not a myth. I even remember a little documentary thing about it, where they showed, like, some footage and stuff like that. I don't know how much it was proven. It said that female chromosomes will change if they feel like the population's threatened of not. Pull out a Jurassic Park move. Honestly, and I even remember my mom talking about this when, like, not when I was, like, young, but, like, I was over 18 and stuff. She was just talking about it probably not too long after the documentary you're watching, because she was always fascinated by stuff. But, you know, like, she always thought it was weird that humans can't just naturally change their biological reproductive stuff. Especially since there are a lot of animals in nature that can do that. They actually are, but we're not in a situation where they feel the need. But no, because like I said, like, the human body constantly sits on the razor's edge of just being able to go to either one, whatever. Because society really likes to press the idea that, like, gender and biological sex are, like, opposite ends of a spectrum, but no, they're just things your body does. I mean, if you believe in evolution, we were once apes, so I don't know why the concept is hazy. Well, I know at least for America, Christianity stuff is aggressively invasive in everyone's worldview, even if they're not Christian. And I feel like it colors a lot of people's worldview, even when discussing things in science. I started because I wanted to milkman. No, it's my problem because, like, I am a creature of whimsy, but I also, like, grind things down to the root cause because everything's always floating around in my brain at once. There's a whole new definition of the word milkman, huh? Milkmen are one of those things that just due to the media I grew up with, I figured would be much more prominent in everyday life when I was little. I've literally never seen a milkman in real life. I'm pretty sure they were long gone way before I was born. But they were like all over cartoons and stuff for whatever reason. I mean, the reason is probably because they were around when the people making those cartoons grew up. It's an interesting thing, like, you know, Lieutenant Surge talks about his Pokemon helping him out in the war. But, like, we never get the idea of, like, was there a Pokemon war? Was it recent? How long ago? How many people died? Is that why there are no dads and all the theory crafting and stuff? But no, more than likely, the war that Lieutenant Surge is talking about is World War II. And you'd be like, but Pokemon Red and Blue came out in 1996, and Lieutenant Surge couldn't be older than 50, right? Well, that's the thing, is that, Pokemon Red and Blue kind of exists in this hazy combination of the early 90s and Satoshi Tajiri's childhood. And if you think about him being a kid in the 60s, having American soldiers that served in World War II not too long ago being stationed around Japan, especially in a port city, makes a whole lot of sense. Having flashbacks of the drawing Hot Milkmen comic. Need to bring that back. I mean, there's still a thing in some places in the US. It was the war on drugs. That just reminds me of Dare. I think it's still a thing, but it was like really pushed when I was in school in the 90s and like early 2000s and stuff. And it's so funny because most of what my friends knew about drugs, they learned from Dare because it was so in-depth. It's like the one thing they took notes on.
Are you okay, little butt? You're so congested. Why did you go play out in the snow?
Still have a Dare frisbee I keep around for shits and giggles. She's doing like little congested sneezes. Are you okay?
You can get under the blanket, Dot.
Thank you for coughing on my microphone. Also, completely random but very cool gaming news. They finished the PC port of Banjo-Kazooie, the fan-made one. The like decompilation recompilation thing. So that's available now, and it looks really freaking good. I'm secretly hoping somebody does something along the lines of Super Mario 64 Render 96 for Banjo-Kazooie, because a whole game looking like Banjo-Kazooie's original freaking renders would be godlike. Oh my gosh. I love Rare's 90s renders so much. So reminding me how a Steam Deck build compiled to. Hell yeah. They had like a whole 6-minute trailer. It was really well done because it was actually narrated by the characters and stuff. It was fun. It was funny also, like, I think my favorite joke in the trailer was when they were putting together, like, because you know there's like the bottle puzzles where you put together like a moving video in puzzle piece form, and they had of course like had Doom running on one of the videos, and Kazooie's like, oh, you ran Doom on it, how original. Yes, I always wonder because, like, Banjo-Kazooie is another one of the many hundreds of games I do want to play on Steam. And that is right in line with the game's sense of humor. I know, it's perfect. But, like, I've always wondered how I should voice the characters, because a part of me figures, like, a lot of Rare game characters would have British voice actors, like, in my head, right? But then again, Banjo sounds like he's, like, from the American South. It was, oh, that kind of thing. So I'm like, is Banjo like just the one American guy in an otherwise British universe? Or like, are they kind of supposed to be American? Because like I could actually absolutely interpret Kazooie as like the sassy British GF. Well, the thing is, like, everything in the game's written in American English, even in the PAL version. Even though it's developed in England. Because I was like working on my voices and stuff, reading the text because I just was playing it on it. So ironically, the day before it got announced that the port was done, like I guess Banjo-Kazooie is just in the air.
But I was kind of thinking Bottles would sound like this, a little bit of a nasally nerd kind of guy.
That's not as far away from my actual voice as I want it to be. Because the thing is, like, after, like, growing up in the 90s and 2000s with voice-acted video games, I admit, most of the time when I read characters from unvoiced video games, unless they have, like, a voice actor in, like, a later thing, like Final Fantasy VII's characters, I tend to, like, have a default rotation of, like, Wendy Lee and Chris Sabat and Steven Bloom, just because I'm so used to them voicing everything. And you probably like Crispin Freeman and Matthew Mercer and all that stuff. The quotation marks same 10 English voice actors. Or from like the US and Canada. Because, like, post-Xenoblade 2, there really has been a pretty, like, running trend. It started kind of a little bit with Dragon Quest VIII, of a lot more stuff getting, like, British voice actors for the English dubs. Not a complaint, I'm cool with it either way. It's just, like, a trend I've noticed. I say post-Xenoblade 2 specifically because I feel like Xenoblade 2 was the first game outside Dragon Quest to really kind of make it a thing on a game that was on like a big stage. Because, I mean, like, the Rainfall trilogy, which of course is Xenoblade Chronicles, Pandora's Tower, and The Last Story. All of those have British voice acting, but they also have their scripts completely in British English because they were originally never going to be localized for the US, so their localization was done by Nintendo of Europe. Because I know there's, like, a color customization thing in The Last Story. And, like, every time it pops up and I see the word color with the letter U in it, I do, like, the thing where I point at the screen, like that one gif of Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, I'll get around to Xenoblade, maybe after I finish Arc Rise. Okay, that's what I got confused on the other day. Me thinking that you hadn't played the Final Fantasies, the Xenoblades you haven't played. Which, like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing of being an adult RPG fan. Is like, you know, if you're an adult, like, platformer or shooter fan, you're like, oh, I'm gonna play this new game I bought. And then, like, you finish it over, like, 2 weekends, because it was, like, an 8 or 10 hour game, and you're like, that was fun. When you're an RPG fan, it's like, I'm gonna finish this new game I bought. And then it's just like, 8 months later, I'm gonna finish this new game I bought. Once again, I cut a worthless object. Japan was easier to localize in Europe than in America. Well, not necessarily easier, it's just that they assumed it was never coming to an American audience, so why would you localize it for that audience? Not that that stopped some games. And juggling a few RPGs at the moment, definitely make room for ARF, yeah. That's the thing, Archives Fantasia is a really kick-ass name right until you realize that it abbreviates to ARF. Yeah. Which makes sense, because that game do have that dog in it. It's like, I hate how the term's thrown around to the point where it's lost all meaning, but it's like, Arcrise really is like a hidden gem, because, like, it was the perfect game at the perfect time, but also the wrong time. Because, you know, now people actually respect the Wii, because all the things that people complained about it being a quotation marks casual system for are just standard things that are in every game now. So the Wii doesn't look weird or out of place. It's like, oh yeah, motion controls, oh yeah, just like my VR headset. Oh yeah, motion controls, just like the Switch Pro controller. It's hard to play Splatoon without them. Or, you know, it's like, oh, a segmented controller, just like the Switch. Or just like my VR headset. So again, I do highly recommend, if you can get yourself a good Classic Controller Pro, Arcrise with the Classic Controller, like, it even more has the PS2 vibe. That it's so beautifully... My brain stopped in mid-sentence. Yeah, like, the PS2 vibes get even stronger, I guess I should say. Like I said, it's pretty much all turn-based, and I don't really remember there being any, like, notable weird mini-games or anything, so it shouldn't make any kind of difference if you do decide to play it through the whole thing with the Chuck. Because I admit, the only games I ever really play with Wii Remote and Nunchuck on the Wii, just end up being games where you literally have no other option, like the Mario Galaxies or something like that. Still actually annoyed that the Wii version of Donkey Kong Country Returns and Metroid Other M do not have any Pro Controller support whatsoever. Because honestly, like, forget about the cutscenes or the story or the characterization stuff. Metroid Other M, its biggest weakness is forcing you to use a Wii Remote sideways. Definitely pick one up either next week or following. Hell yeah, it's such a good, comfy controller for RPGs. Because it's light, but it doesn't feel cheap, and you can just sit there for like 2 or 3 hours playing a game with it, and you won't even get any fatigue. It's so good. Also, I pretty much all of my time with Tatsunoko versus Capcom. Oh, hi, Rain! Oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were streaming! I got raided! Oh, I'm sad I missed your stream. But how are you? What have you been playing? Bod's always there if you want to chew, but I always love interacting too. Made it through Mount Moon and fought Sunny again. I'm gonna have to go watch that. Like, as soon as I get done with my stream here, I'm gonna go watch the VOD, because that sounds awesome. Did you make any new additions to any of your teams? Wanted to keep things short since I'm still at 100%. It's so funny, it keeps marking you as Raider from Rain E Days, and I'm like, yeah, but she's also just here all the time anyway, you guys, it's fine. only addition that'll be happening soon is in the yellow team. We won't get anything else till Vermilion. Get shouted out. Everybody go follow Rain. She plays a million, zillion, 100,000 roguelikes, but right now she's doing a really freaking cool thing where she's playing through all 3 of the Gen 1 Pokemon games, but only with Pokemon that have lower than 500 base stat total for their final evolution. Every million things light years away, though. Yeah, if you're not following Rain, what's wrong with you? Take forever. Sounds cool, give a follow. Hell yeah! Kind of a red flag not to be following Rain, just saying. Honestly, so true. I mean, do you know who never followed Rain on Twitch? Mussolini. Just saying. It's also not just the Gen 1 games, only extending it to every mainline Pokemon game barring remakes. Hell yeah. I know you mentioned that earlier, but I didn't know if you were still going like all the way through there. If I can ask you some like inside baseball, what are you going to be using to emulate the 3DS games? Because I'd kind of like to play 3DS on Steam, but last I recall, I think Sitcha or whatever, like the something something Nintendo something something development on it got ceased or halted or something. Because, you know, heaven forbid we should want to still play games that we are no longer capable of purchasing because of a store that was shut down. Heaven forbid we should want to stream games that we really enjoy, but the device was not made with any kind of video output, so we couldn't share them with people even if we wanted to. Still looking into that. I saw PokeCare. Still gonna PokeCare. Sorry. Still gonna PokeCare once I get closer to that, because I saw he had a 3DS emulator on his desktop. Sitcha still works, but slightly more inconvenient to find a link and build. I bet if every cat had the ability to set up an email account following Rain, that would tip the scales. I mean, a lot of cats follow me because I'm a mouse. Hey guys, I'll be back in just 1 second. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick.
It's been a long time.
Wait, that's the thing I keep forgetting is Buena's password. 2 cats follow me. They act like they're attached me at the hip. Yeah, I'm gonna run an ad real quick. We attract a lot of cat-based people. It's true. I talked to a lot of cat people and based people. Run an ad real quick and run to the bathroom. Right back. Hi, cuties. I return. Somehow, the mouse returned. Like me in my base 20s. Oh, you see, you brought that one right back, just like a boomerang. You can call the cat on multiple occasions, gonna go make tea. Okie dokie. Whoa. Oh wait, let's check the poke kitten. Okay, here, kitten, you can sit right there. Look, there's a spot just for you. You don't have to smack my face. You can smack my face anyway, but... Today's password is Ratata. Alright, let's go get our bonus stuff. I'm gonna walk there even though I could use fly. 'Cause I'm just like that. Can you dig it, baby? Calm down, you little pumpkin butt. Look, there's a hole. She's trying to make, like, she'll make biscuits and get carried away, because normally she just does it on my lap, and I'll have, like, a blanket on, or 2 layers of shirts, and it's fine. She can do her little biscuit, it doesn't really hurt. But she gets carried away, and she starts going further up, and she tries to make biscuits on my face, and I'm like, that doesn't work. The murder knives hurts me. Oh. She's getting the biscuits ready for Rain's tea, though. Let a woman work. But not on my face. Not on my face, Daddy. I'm so sorry, Slash, you're welcome. She finally started to calm down. Now she's just about, stop having such a biscuity face then, damn. You know, that's fair. Biscuits in the front, full bakery in the back. Gosh, National Park is such a vibe. Back of where? Oh, my SUV, which I don't have. Please come back. They took my SUV with the bakery in it. I can no longer make cakes. It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake. What? Interesting thing, the little fountain sprite here is actually not in original gold and silver. It's still got the water thing in the center here, but... So, no, this place is so peak. Like, I have my problems with Heart Gold and Soul Silver for sure, but the vibes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver's National Park combined with the music that just opens with a beautiful piano piece is just so amazing. It's so perfect. You know, I was watching a Sonic video that I'm not gonna mention the person who uploaded it because, like, the video had some good points about, like, the game design, but they were also kind of a mean baby and they said mean things about other YouTubers and all that. So I don't really want to encourage any clicks on their channel. If you've seen it, you probably know which one I'm talking about. But it did make me think about how, like, in the 90s, early 2000s, kind of in the pre-digital download age, a lot of times, especially if you were a kid, you didn't get games that often. I probably got more games than the average kid, but even then I didn't get a whole lot. But because, again, like I said earlier in the stream, my mom kind of taught me how to budget and not get toys and stuff like that, so I could save up to get game stuff. But, you know, a lot of older games being made with only, like, megabytes, sometimes kilobytes of space. You know, a lot of times they were built dense and full of replayability. And the Sonic games are a good example, because, like, even after you kind of master the game, like, you beat the game, and then you start mastering the physics and everything, and then you start tearing down the intricacies and finding out how it actually can work as an arcade score attack game. You know, things like if you getting a huge bonus if you beat the game or beat the level in under a minute, or the actual maximum bonus is if you clear a level at 9 minutes 59 seconds, you will get an enormous bonus by literally clearing it at the last second. So the game doesn't just reward you for being fast or just for being skilled. It rewards you for doing something cool. And generally, Sonic always kept that even into the later games with, like, the ranking systems and stuff. Because a lot of times, sometimes to get in some of the games, getting an S rank is just, you know, rewarded to you for just being fast enough. I know Generations just hands S ranks out like candy, but a lot of times, the Sonic games, you'll get the most bonus if you do something you didn't have to, or if you style on an enemy. Or style on the bosses, or whatever. So it doesn't just encourage you to get good, it encourages you to be like Sonic, to be cool and do things in a cool way. And that's when you get the biggest rewards. The Sega arcade mentality still shines through. But, like, thinking about that, and also thinking about, like, with National Park, I think one thing, especially when you get older, you have disposable income, and you start to get a backlog, which I feel like a lot of 80s, 90s, 2000s kids ended up with a backlog because, in a way, we just want to fulfill that dream of when we were a little kid and we wanted to have all the video games on the shelf. And there's nothing wrong with that, because your backlog is not a job, it's not a checklist, it's a library. And you have a vast library of experiences waiting for you to enjoy, and you do not have a responsibility to play them. You do not have a responsibility to finish them. You just have joy waiting for you to experience whenever you want that experience. But even so, I feel so seen right now. It's exactly my dream. Me too. Me too. But, even so, you know, being a kid with few games, you kind of started to live in some of the games when you had free time. Because having a small collection of games, you would squeeze every little bit, like every possible drop, and then you'd start using it as a playground and making up new stuff to do, making up new rules and stuff. I remember seeing one post on, I think it was Twitter, where somebody was talking about, like, a little house spot in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, and they said that when they were really little, they would, like, pretend like it was Mario's apartment. And so it's like, then whenever they would stop playing, they would come back to the little apartment spot after they saved before they turned the game off. Back, what did I miss? Mostly just me being nostalgic and yapping about games. Don't think about the backlog that way. I just have games I've finished and games I haven't. Love how many options I have. Yeah, that's the best way to really think about it, is to not concern yourself, because a lot of people look at their backlog and think of it as like, this is a responsibility, and it's like, no, just have fun, enjoy things. Because one thing that kind of made me think of that too is playing Breath of the Wild with Mom. Because I've mentioned this before, but when Mom and I play games together, usually I was the controller holder for most games. But she would still have input on like level ups and builds and you know, like character progression and the story and story decisions, and we'd like talk it out. So we were really actually engaging with the game together. I was usually the one holding the controller and doing a lot of the fights. But one thing she insisted on when we played through Breath of the Wild together is after we bought Link the house that you can buy in that game, she would always want to end the game by taking Link back to his house and having him go to bed. And she was all like, I hate the idea of thinking about Link just having to like curl up out in the middle of nowhere with like no tint or anything when we save and turn it off. Because a lot of times Mom would also want to like change Link out of whatever outfit we had him in and change him into like one of the casual clothes. She was like, well, no, he's just gonna be sitting out there around the house till we get back. So we want to be able to have like some comfy clothes. Sonic and Devil May Cry is similar like that. Like, you're not meant to get good at Devil May Cry, you're meant to be cool and stylish. It's adorable. Yeah, like I said, Mom, well, the thing is, like, that kind of helped between that and also playing through Xenoblade 2, because I was in a state where, like, for a little while, for a couple years, my depression was really bad, and I had a hard time engaging myself meaningfully with anything besides Pokemon as far as games go. I've just like skimmed, because like part of it, the reason why I have so many games I haven't finished from like that came out between like 2008 and 2015, 2016 is just because like I had such a hard time focusing on anything. Like the combination of like the depression, undiagnosed executive dysfunction, and ADHD were all just like curling up and just making it so difficult for me to do anything at all. But between playing through Xenoblade 2, which like helped me mentally a lot, and how my mom engaged with Breath of the Wild, it kind of like turned a mirror back to how I used to engage with games and find so much joy in things. Because you can analyze games and their design on a completely clinical and like sterile level. And that can be valid as well, but that's not all there is, because I've mentioned it before, but games are a collaborative art form. Because they're one of the few things that is both the work of art and the brush and canvas. Because there's this art that's been crafted by all of these amazing people, but it's also up to you to finish it in a way. And I feel like a lot of people tend to, both online and off, just... Okay, this is a weird thing about it. This is going to sound like a weird analogy, but I'll get around to it in a second. But, like, I remember when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At a card shop. This wasn't a tournament setting or anything. Just everyone was just going around dueling each other for fun. Games are like coloring books. You're not really wrong, actually. It's kind of why I'm doing my big Pokemon project. I want to have fun with games again. Yes, that's so good. So good. But yeah, actually coloring books are a really good comparison, Maddie. But yeah, like I was just playing a regular dual Yu-Gi-Oh! With them. You know, I'm having fun. I'm not playing a super competitive deck. I was just playing cards I really liked. And I just like bricked really hard. And I ended up losing the match, and I'm like, ah, dang, you want to go ahead and do round 2? And they're like, no, I already beat you once. I never need to duel against you again. And I'm like, huh? Well, oh no, but that's the thing is, like, but people do apply that attitude to a lot of things. Like, they'll watch a movie one time ever and never look at it again. They'll play through a game's main campaign or something and never touch it again. And a lot of people will, like, they'll blaze through it like it's a job. Like, they'll just get to the ending, they won't look for any extras, they won't do anything, they won't even go out of their way for side quests. Because I remember I was like, you know, like, I was technically babysitting my little cousin. He was like 12 or 13 at the time, and I was like 20-something. But he was a bit too old, so instead we said we were hanging out, you know, instead of me babysitting him. Like, we're just gonna hang out while your mom's out of town. And he's like, okay, cool. And so I remember looking at his playthrough of Pokemon Sapphire, and he had beaten the Elite Four in 8 hours. And I was like, hey, can I just run around in your copy of Sapphire? And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And so I'm running around in his Sapphire. He did not pick up any extra items. There are entire areas that he did not have mapped. Like, he had not been to Pacific Log Town. His dex had almost nothing. And I'm like, wow, you really didn't do much in Sapphire, huh? And he's like, I beat the game. And like that's one of those things that stuck with me. Also, like with the Yu-Gi-Oh person I mentioned before. And it's like, maybe this is why it takes me forever to finish things, but it's just like, that feels like such a joyless way to interact with things, especially when a lot of art, whether it's interactive art like video games or non-interactive art like pictures or, you know, paintings, movies, TV shows, only ever engaging with something one time and being done forever just seems sad. I played and rewatched so much media that I honestly can't fathom that kind of mindset. Same here. Absolutely. How can you not roll around pieces of media in your brain for months? I don't understand. Hi, did you tune into my radio show? You remember today's password? Yes. Thank you. What is your name again? Mots? Okay. Come on, Mots, join the show. Everyone ready? I want to hear you shout out today's password for Mots. It's Pikachu! Nah, it's Rattata. Yippee! That's right. You did tune in. I'm so happy. You earned 1 point. Congratulations. Yep, our contestant was Mots. Thanks for coming. Hope all you listeners will come too. I'll be waiting. Honestly, seeing people have that kind of mindset is partly why I've been enjoying your slow play of Crystal so much. It's honestly a breath of fresh air. Yay, I'm glad. Well, because this is a lot of how I'd play Crystal as a kid. I just grind everything, do my daily stuff every day, and just like soak in the vibes. I got 12 points already. Actually, yes, I'm gonna get some nougats. Because I wanted to save up money to get coins so I could get, I think, like Thunderbolt or something for Haunter. Even when I was a kid obsessed with Pokemon, say nothing, it'd still take me 3 or 4 days to beat a game. I basically did everything I could do in the region. Same actually made me start a new file. Aww. As a kid, I'd only keep playing the same game because it turned into my new safe place. Hearing that story is kind of baffling. Yeah. I mean, said cousin eventually grew up to be like pretty standard, straight, cisgendered male, did sports for a little while. You know, like, was in, I think, like, the army for a little bit. Like, he was never a jerk or anything. He was always really nice and polite to me and Mom and stuff, but it's just like, I guess he just wasn't built to engage with things the way that I do. And that's okay. Final Fantasy Edges of Time. Replayed it so much I couldn't even say the lines along with the characters. I really want to play the Crystal Chronicles games, even if I do play them all single player. Because they are such a vibe. Though, okay. PSA, especially if you're listening 7th Force, because I know you've been like getting into Wii stuff a little bit more lately. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles The Crystal Bearers for Wii is probably one of the coolest single-player Uncharted-like action adventures just ever. it got a lot of hate because it only uses motion controls for stuff, and it also, well, I mean, it was on the Wii, it had the Final Fantasy name, and it's not an RPG, really. It's got, like, some Zelda elements, and you can, like, but I mean, like, your life isn't even in number, like your HP, it's literally in Zelda-style segments. But yeah, no, it's not a very long game, but it is a must-play at least once. The characters are memorable, they're lovable, they're hilarious. It's got, like, amazing comedic timing, it's got drama, it's awesome. And you don't need to understand anything from the other Crystal Chronicles games to play it. It takes place, like, hundreds of years later in the timeline, so... anything about the distant past that you would need to know, they explain in-game. It's just like a wonderful, self-contained, Uncharted-style action-adventure. It uses the Wii Remote and stuff in a lot of really cool ways. But, like, the main character has, like, psychic power. And generally that psychic power is just telekinesis. He can lift things with his mind. And they squeeze that for every amazing little bit of gameplay it could possibly be worth. Did I forget to heal at the Pokemon Center? ADHD in real time. No, I did not heal at the Pokemon Center. Go to the Pokemon Center. He controls the TV. Well, that's why the Wii comes with a remote. Also, crazy thing with Crystal Chronicles, it is one of the first games I ever played to have a share button. Add it to the list, gotta start writing all these down. See here, it made me excited to start my Soul Silver playthrough. Need to get that shiny Chikorita first, though. I feel weird to no longer have Crystal streams. That won't be for a pretty long while, though. Yeah, probably. One of my favorite things from Final Fantasy is them literally squeezing water from a rock. Controlling things with your mind, just like Stranger Things. I have never watched a single episode of Stranger Things. I haven't even really seen that many memes about it, so I don't even have any cultural osmosis for it. I'm very sorry. Oh my god, 12! 12 from, like, Street Fighter 3? Yeah, awesome. At some point, I'm going to stream Street Fighter 3 The Third Strike. I'm gonna suck at it because I'm not very good at fighting games for the most part. I'm, like, okay-ish at, like, Marvel 2 and the PS1 version of Marvel 1. I'm below average at pretty much any other fighting game, but I'm gonna stream Street Fighter 3 The Third Strike at some point in the future, just so you guys can see how much of a stunningly gorgeous work of art that game is. I might get murdered for saying this, but I skipped Street Fighter for King of Fighters because the men are prettier. I mean... I will give you this, the men of King of Fighters are all super freaking gorgeous, so fair enough. But hey, you can just play Capcom vs. SNK 2 and get the best of both worlds. I love watching fighting games, but my gameplay doesn't mesh with my brain when I try to play them for myself. I have a hard time during Spooky Month without fighting Darkstalkers. Well, part of Darkstalkers was I was trying to play it with a normal PS1 controller, which is not very conducive to fighting gaming. I might actually try it again with my game, sir. Also, I had never played vanilla Darkstalkers 1 before that stream. Fun fact. Aside from, like, testing it to make sure that the game functioned and everything, I never actually engaged with it on any level. You're not very conducive to fighting games. Ah! Kinda hard to deny Iori Yagami's raw sexual energy. I mean, Iori, I could 100% see being Guru's type. Iori Yagami isn't my fave. I must know whomst is. Dave is literally the screaming Brit with a flaming pole. Fighting games are quite often filled with beautiful men built like castle bastions, but true. Honestly, this probably comes from my first exposure to most of Capcom fighting games being the first Marvel vs. Capcom. Aside from stuff here and there from the 90s when Street Fighter 2 was popular, but I was so little back then. But like, I've always been a little sad at the de-twinkification of Ryu in like Street Fighter 4 through 6. Because I'm sorry, but like Alpha Ryu is the Ryu that lives in my head. Telling you, I went to King of Fighters, but but my fave isn't the pretty one. I mean, I know this is a cliche turn of phrase, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and the one that makes you giggly happy, that's the pretty one, regardless of what anybody else says. Said before that I'd love to design monsters for a monster catching game, but also super love to design characters for a fighting game. Honestly, like, if I had my dream scenario or whatever, I would love to have a fighting game, but with characters like some of them designed by me and you, and like Kubi and probably Guru and stuff like that. Just like get our whole like art group together and everybody design like 1 or 2 characters. But no, you see, I'm one of the sickos who plays fighting games for the story. Yes, absolutely. Fighting games, the mashup of character designs from your favorite group sounds like it would rule so hard. Your entire group. Yes, that would in fact rule incredibly hard. And I kind of want to do like the Xenoblade 2 thing that they did with the blades, where like we give you a theory of the character with no creative restriction. I mean, it's possible to have multiple art styles. A lot of mobile games are like that. Yeah, that's kind of part of what inspired the idea. That, and I just love games with multiple art styles anyway. Like, I mean, I love Kingdom Hearts. I adore Marvel vs. Capcom, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. Because one thing I always loved with Marvel vs. Capcom, and it almost never comes through in the like comic book adaptations or anything, was that, especially with Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, every character just keeps their art style of the game they're from. And I've always thought it was so cool. Like, again, I also grew up with the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So, like, I love realistic human characters interacting with characters that have cartoony designs. It's like, I am personally one of those people who is for the human characters in Sonic the Hedgehog looking realistic or anime style. I really like designing characters, even though I'm still not very good at it. It's just something that takes practice. Designing a character for yourself is always exponentially harder than designing it for other people. Fighting games whose characters have a theme are really appealing, like Darkstalkers. I'd love to do a design for that. See, I can throw out mood boards and notes for what I'd want a character to look. Can I draw it myself? Next question. I love those, like Smash Brothers is like that too. Yes. That's why I love stuff like Tron and the Pirates Worlds and Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I was actually not super disappointed, but like always a teeny smidge disappointed that in Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora, Donald, and Goofy get like similar, more realistic texture work and outfits for when the Pirates of the Caribbean returned, because I loved them being like super day glow bright and cell shaded in the world of Pirates of the Caribbean and KH2. I want to rewatch Treasure Planet. Oh, I love Treasure Planet. The movie's like so good. I think when I was 16, I made 50 designs for an all-women fighting game concept. It'd be cool to revisit that in some form. For sure. The design's looking neat. Helps ease the blow, at least. Honestly, kind of weird to me that Treasure Planet never made it into a Kingdom Hearts. Because, like, dude, like, the surfing and the space battles and all that stuff, it's like, that game could so easily facilitate a video game level. I love daydreaming about walking cycles for my characters, especially in fighting game style. Like, I think I've mentioned this before, but with the, like, manga I'm working on, which I actually need to do some finished colored illustrations for them and actually show them to you guys. I promise, I'm just tired all the time, cries. But like, I so frequently imagine them like doing like fighting game entrances in the style of like the modern like post-Xrd Guilty Gear games. Maybe I'll in Blender so I can throw in some 3D characters so the rest of the cast is 2D. Ah, that's cool. Almost made it to Dream Drop distance. Leftover data for it in the data. I was so crushed. Ah! Ah! I would not be surprised if Disney were the ones who vetoed it. It's okay. It's all tired. We're all tired of all the time. It's a byproduct of living under capitalism. Anyway, lights Molotov. That damn mouse. That's me. I'm the mouse. Oh. No, actually, I know you don't mean it in a bad way, Maddie. I'm not picking on you, but that just reminds me of the thing where it always makes me a little sad when people try to conflate corporations with their mascot. Because, like, Mickey the character is a really good stand-up cool guy with a mischievous streak. I do not like him being conflated with the evil Disney overlords. Love Matthew the Mouse from Disney. It's like I don't like people conflating any bad action Nintendo does with Mario, because Mario wouldn't do that. Isn't Disney the cricket? It's Disney cricket. Curiously, the only Disney movie that from that movie's producer that didn't make it into KH. Because again, like, I think it's important when talking about anything under a major brand or company to separate the creatives from the suits. Because companies are not a monolith, it's just a bunch of people. And generally the people, whether it's on the ground floor or someone in a creative field, usually do not vibe with or do not agree with a lot of the decisions being made by a bunch of millionaires. Disney wanted to kill Treasure Planet so badly, I know. Well, that's why I was saying, like, I wonder if Disney execs vetoed it being in Kingdom Hearts. Because it feels like something you never want to bring up or talk about. Just say that demon Bob Igar if you're gonna yell at me. Jeez, I'm not yelling at you, it just reminded me of a topic I was thinking about. I know you didn't mean it in a bad way. You were just using colloquial shorthand to express yourself quickly. Can't go anywhere without you calling me mean names like cutie and baby girl. I'm sorry, Maddie, but the entire world has to know that you're cute. See? Did I miss something? No, this is literally the standard ADHD versus autism. Banter. Even though we are both. Well, that's the thing, is like we're both playing both sides. It's like we're having a doubles match, but both of us are both people on both sides. I direct my attention to breakfast for 1 second, and I look up and see bantering. The standard banter of two besties. Like, breakfast, and then I remember, oh yeah, time zones. What do you own? Time zone. Look at that, he's never alone. Leather and lace, get in place. What do you get now? Bad days. Broom, zoom, cosmic doom. Look out, Jay, it's Sonic Boom. Toot toot Sonic Warrior, toot toot Sonic Warrior. The power is in your hand to turn on your Nintendo and play Mega Man. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, but like the song "You Can Do Anything" from Sonic CD is an absolute banger. Sonic CD's opening movie is like actually one of the best anythings produced for anything Sonic the Hedgehog related. It captures the spirit of the characters so beautifully. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, the Hedgehog. What you all don't see is the bowl of mush I have to eat off the ground because Kay refuses to let me touch her special cheese fridge. I told you can get stuff from the regular fridge, and you're the one who put the mush on the ground in the first place. I gave you a bowl. Best Sonic depiction ever. Hiss! Domestic bliss. Whoa! See, I was actually thinking today about how streaming is so... Okay, it makes finishing games a lot easier with my ADHD. Because, like, I'm really bad about, like, ooh, I'm in the mood for a video game. And then I'll turn on video game. Like let's say, yeah, I'm in the mood for Arc Rise Fantasia. You say game, I need it for my boner. Okay, I'll do anything for a boner. Game! But, no, it's like, I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna play Arc Rise Fantasia, because, like, I'm really into it after watching 7th stream it, and then I'll be like, I'll play for 30 minutes or something, and I'll be like, man, I'm hungry, I need to get something to eat. And then I'll watch a video, and the video's like, something, Donkey Kong Country Returns, and I'm like, oh shit, I never did finish Donkey Kong Country Returns. So, I will go and turn on Donkey Kong Country Returns and then play it for half an hour while listening to another YouTube video that'll mention freaking Secret of Mana or something. And then I'll, like, get up and go to the bathroom. When I get back, I'm like, I should play some Secret of Mana. And then I've somehow spent the entire day gaming but made no progress in any video game. We need a game redeem. I might actually put that on there. Or maybe I'll instead of just game, I'll just be like, you know, I'll say, like, a character or something in the Smash Bros. Announcer voice. The only thing in the normal fridge is an open can of Crystal Pepsi that's been there for as long as I have in a bag of buns. Well, yeah, the bag of buns are for the Anaconda. Fishing on Route 32. Swing by if you have the time. Voice clip of Smash Bros. Saying, "Gay!" Just knew you could do it, which is why I asked. Glad to be of service. So I just get the Pepsi. She asked me if she wanted a Coke. She said she'd rather have Pepsi. Womp, 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 womp. Damn, she's a Pepsi chick. She's a Pepsi chick. Damn, she's a Pepsi chick. Damn, girl. And the Oreos, too, I guess. The Selena Gomez Oreos are for you and you exclusively. Also, it's great because in the Japanese version of Smash Brothers, the announcer goes, "Game set!" So it's really easy to just be like, "Gay sex!" So honored. Oh my god. I need a person who would do that. A gay porno or something. Well, no, that's the thing is, like, casual sex implies the existence of competitive sex. And I mean, most of the freaking yaoi stuff you write is about guys who are already rivals anyway. So they would absolutely be like, "You son of a bitch, you're gonna come first tonight and there's nothing you can do about it." Or something like that. So they'd have, like, the announcer being like, "Gentlemen, get ready! It's gonna be a tight one out there!" An audience chants one of the porn actors' names when he thrusts, particularly in the all cheer. And it's one of those things, like, as a kid that I thought about, not the thrusting thing, but, like, with Smash Brothers, is, like, you know, whenever a character's doing really well, there'll be an audience, and they'll be like, "Mario!" or "Pikachu!" And I'll be, like, I don't know, playing in that level in Smash 1, where it's just, like, floating abstractly in the sky over Peach's castle, and I'm like, where the hell is the audience? Where are they? Choked. I'm so sorry. / you're welcome. We finally finished. The guy's like, "Come!" I never learned how to read. But that's fine. I think I wanted to get Ice Beam and Thunderbolt for Starmie. But I still don't have enough money to get all the coins I would need. Though I... Wait, shit. Is that guy over there? Is it Wednesday and Saturday or Wednesday and Sunday? I just guess I'll just go to Goldenrod and check. Everybody grab your caffeine-free, sugar-free beverage of choice and take a nice long sippy. I've got my water bottle, tumbler. Honestly, kind of shocked that Rain didn't immediately redeem Hydrate when she came in. Since you mentioned how cold it is up there, I'm logging to Instagram, saw my brother goofing around in the snow. Does your brother not live with you guys? I mean, is he still in the US, or what? The oos? He moved to New York 3 years ago. Sometimes he visits, which is why I talk about him a lot. I gotcha. Is that the gay one, or is it the one who doesn't know he's gay yet? We got like 18 inches of snow and missed snow. I mean, we didn't get that much snow here. It's mostly been like shitty ice and freezing rain. We got a little bit of snow, so it was pretty this morning, which I looked at out my window and did not go outside into. But, I would probably be enjoying it more if I had central heat. Because while my space heaters and stuff normally keep my house pretty nice and cozy when it's like normal cold, in this kind of weather, it's just like I cannot get warm. Like my feet are freaking freezing. And I can't get pick my feet up off the ground because there's a little ball of fur curled up on my lap. Got about 12 inches here. Secret move you can do during sex that makes either Snake or Colonel Palutena or Verdi talk about who you're fucking. The canonically gay one. Don't contact the homophobic one. Understandable. Mostly hovering near bed, curling up while watching the snow. I mean, I admit, on yesterday when I was hanging out at 7th Force's stream after I got off work, I was literally just, like, in my bed with, like, my pajamas on under, like, 4 blankets with the heater pointing directly at me, just, like, cozying. It's been really nice since weather's been giving me the big EP. I mean, as somebody who, like, slept for most of the first half of the day today, I was kind of glad for it, in a way. Today has been, like, the first day that I have really... The first day in a pretty long time I've actually just slept well. People who grew up with snow, is it annoying, like, dealing with the snow? Okay, if you are always around it, probably not, but if you're in a place where it snows not too often, but every once in a while, it does get annoying because a lot of times if you live in a more rural or in the outer rims of the suburbs, they don't salt the roads, so you pretty much cannot leave the house safely until the ice melts again. It can be a chore, especially like if you have to get out there and shovel. And also the thing is, like, okay, snow actually keeps things warmer than ice because snow does retain heat. So it'll actually be warmer if it snows than if it's the same temperature without snow. Same here, we rarely get snow and it's annoying. Yeah, it's super annoying for me where I live. Also, I don't like being cold. I want to be warm and cozy and be cuddled in my blankies and warm and comfy. You heard about that from Hokkaido? Because I know one thing that's been beating me down really badly is over the last 3 weeks, temperatures have ranged anywhere from like up to like 80 degrees all the way down to like 12 or 13. It also sucks to deal with if you live in a place that doesn't have an infrastructure to deal with cold temperatures and snowfalls, yeah. Because a lot of people will be very unprepared. And they can not only cause accidents because I don't know what it is, but in a lot of places, like, if people are in a situation that they're not prepared for, they're like, oh, we'll be fine, and then fucking wreck their car or some shit. And you can literally have heart attacks if you start shoveling unprepared if you're not used to working that hard in lower temperatures. Pretty thin line with snow being serene and pretty to a horror movie scenario, yeah. Next week for us, it's supposed to be a high of 18 and down to -6. Ugh. Thankfully, it's not getting that cold by me, but I know one of the lows is like 10 in the next couple days, and I'm like, man, fuck that. I don't want to be cold. Thankfully, I bought plenty of 7-Up and Diet Pepsi and stuff, so I have plenty of sodas to survive. Some places closing business due to the weather. Yeah, where I work actually closed today because of the weather. Sweating, converting everything to world measurement. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to American measurement you. You see, while I generally prefer metric and global measurements, and I think they're more logical, I personally prefer Fahrenheit for temperature because when the weather's 69 Fahrenheit, it's actually nice. Got to feeling around -2 over here. Had to take breaks because I couldn't feel my fingers. Oh, that sucks. There have only been a few times where I live that the temperature's gotten in the negatives, but I really do not like it. It's fine. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, that ain't so bad. I remember it's Fahrenheit. Yeah, I thought about that. I do remember this one, like, little video of a weather thing where they actually got away with a joke. Because they had the listing of what kind of, like, what the weather's going to be like, and it was like 71, rainy. It was like 66, clear. 69, nice. And I'm like, oh, they actually got away with that on the weather thing and nobody noticed. It was so good. Well, nobody, like, at the studio noticed. The hardest thing on, like, a YouTube video or social media post is when you're the 70th or 421st person who gives it a like, because you're like, everything was perfect and I'm ruining it. Would retire after that. Career pretty much peaks there, yeah. It's like, okay guys, it was a good run. I'm going to the Bahamas. I'm a few hours from the Canada border in the US, so a majority of the year is far too hot. It's like, I need to be up there. Let me up there! I mean, there are a lot of reasons to want to go to Canada. Like, for example, you could meet Rayman's human Sona, Nitro Rad. I think Canada has actual dinosaur fossils. I was actually talking with Cersei earlier about leaving the US. Frankly, America's doing fine. It's not to replicate their actual fossils. That's awesome. In America, they just let the fossils run the government. Waka waka! Oh no, we're still a while away from Final Fantasy X. Ba-doom-tsh. I can't laugh because I'm in the exact same situation. But hey, we got our very first female BPM. Oh, that's actually good. Thank goodness. You're a fossil running a country? Well, yeah, I mean, haven't you ever heard of Lord Helix? I've been looking more into Ireland, Scotland as a place to move to, but I need to finish getting a proper passport and other IDs updated. No. No. How do you say no? But, honestly, like, Scotland and Ireland are both just unbelievably beautiful places. North Pole for me. No, I don't want to be cold. But you do get to meet Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Legend has it that he has a very shiny nose. Doubt it. Fun random Mikhail lore, I guess. I never actually stopped believing in Santa. When I was like 9, 10 maybe, I came to the conclusion on my own for some reason that I told my mom to tell Santa to stop bringing me any more presents because I had a lot of really cool stuff, and since I had learned to save up money and stuff, that I would rather Santa give gifts to kids who don't have anything at all and give more gifts to them. Smack Santa's ass. Not in a sexual way, in a vengeful way. Guys, help, Dot woke up and she's trying to climb me. Santa's a class traitor. No, you see, the thing is, one thing that I am adamant about in my life is I can't be a class traitor if I never have any class at all. Dot's a criminal incapable of not doing crime. Velocity of Santa's ass slap will heal all problems that we have. The ass slap heard around the world. The bonk from her was really well timed. She's talented. I mean, I honestly thought about renaming her, considering that her sisters May and Trix both passed away. So she doesn't really have the pun anymore. The audio waves will have a healing effect. But I guess she's got to be done. I mean, I thought about renaming her Fujiko because, you know, she's a criminal. But I think she's just got to be Dot. But next time, warn us about a possible pet death in this movie. 0 out of 10. I'm sorry. They weren't even my pets. Dot Fujiko last name. Well, they weren't even really mine. They all three of them lived outside at the time. I mean, May, I don't know if I ever really saw her pass away. She just disappeared one day, and I haven't seen her since, and that's been over a year. But Trix, like, I was just walking around in the yard, like, you know, like picking some stuff up, because when they all eat, the outside cats, they tend to just drag the food bowls all across the yard, so I have to go pick them all up. But like, Trix was just there peacefully, no longer alive, no damage, like nothing had attacked her, she didn't look like she'd struggled or been in pain or anything, she just was laying there, just passed away. So like I said, they weren't really my cats or anything, or my pets, but, you know, it's still sad. They were all, like, all the cats that live outside, almost all of them are, like, super nice. Because I've mentioned it before, but they don't really belong to anybody in the neighborhood. They just kind of hang around. I think Dot has forcibly self-adopted. But she's also litter trained, so... And also, whenever Dot realized that she can just, meow at the bowl and I'll put more food in it if it's empty, she stopped trying to tear up stuff in the house, like bread or anything like that I leave out. Because I think she kind of caught to, like, oh, if I'm in the house, I don't have to worry about food. I can just ask for more food. And she'll even, like, walk away from the bowl now and just leave food in there for later. Let's go! God, it's smart. Mounds evolved into Doug Trio, one of the few Pokemon whose names is the same in Japanese and English. They passed peacefully as we're sharing enough. Sad to see them go, but yeah. Like I said, if you're gonna pass away, I'd always rather be peaceful. Multi-mounds! Finally, plural. You know, there's a weirdly large amount of, Gen 1 Pokemon with multiple heads. Like Doduo and Dodrio, Dugtrio, Magneton, Weezing. Kinda Slowbro, if you want to stretch the definition. Kanto loves its head. Honestly, Dugtrio is such a fun Pokemon to use. Exeggutor, yeah. I mean, if you're that hot, you'll get more than one. True. Go ahead and take your PlayStation Network, Yoreberry. You know, Dugtrio is so fun to use because it's really, really fast. Also, I guess Kangaskhan in a weird way, yeah? Oop, wrong thing. Okay, so, fun random fact. In Generation 1, if you use the item X accuracy, it does not give you 100% accuracy. It skips the accuracy check entirely. And you may think, okay, that's about the same thing as giving you 100% accuracy, whatever. And, like, sure, in most situations, that's true. But it also skips the accuracy check for one-hit KO moves. So if you have a Doug Trio with Fisher, you can just throw an X accuracy at it, and as long as it can survive the first attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you can just wipe entire teams that don't have flying types. Because this is actually used a lot in Red and Blue speedruns. That sounds balanced. Well, it's used a lot in Red and Blue speedruns because Horn Drill is a TM, and you can get a Nidoran up to a Nidoking before the second gym. So you can just load up on X accuracies, and Nidoking can literally murder everything with very few things stopping him. This is fine. Yeah, it's cool. Well, keep in mind, with Pokemon Red and Blue, those were made first and foremost to be single-player RPGs. They were originally only going to have trading. It was actually Shigeru Miyamoto's suggestion to add the ability to battle your Pokemon against each other. So we got Doug Trio. I don't think Mankey's in Crystal. Okay, Seal and Dugat. Like I said, someday we're going to make a whole day of going to the Whirl Islands to get Lugia. So I do need Muck, so let's go ahead and grab Grimer. Grab that Grime. Because, like, Seal and Horsey are pretty much exclusively available in the Whirl Islands. IIRC. Wonder how differently Pokemon would be treated if it stopped at Gen 2. I think about that a lot, too, because there really is, like, a complete and total shift in the feeling in the game series from Gen 3 onward. It's not worse. I don't think it's a bad thing or anything. It's just, it is different. A lot of that's because, like, Gen 1 and Gen 2 were the only two that Satoshi Tajiri, the original creator, was directly involved in. He's still, like, I'm pretty sure the president and CEO of Game Freak. But a lot of times he just, like, kind of overviews the games, checks over things, stuff like that. But he doesn't really direct or do anything as far as, like, the direct game development goes. Ending at Gen 2 would have been a hell of a mic drop. So that's how games like Robopon and Fighting Foodons, it would probably be considered like the peak of that era. It's like, oh, you guys remember the monster catching games? Oh yeah, Pokemon was the best one though, for sure. Then again, like, I also kind of have respect for game series that just, like, they did everything they wanted and they just stop. Weirdly enough, growing up and stuff and getting older, I've kind of been okay with some game series just ending. Because it's like, it's not like the games are gone. I can still play the other ones. Just like staring at a blank wall 6 hours a day instead of playing Pokemon. Well, okay, the thing is, Maddie, if it weren't for Pokemon, I'd probably have no friends. That's not an exaggeration or sarcasm or an insult to myself. It's just that everybody I met on Miiverse, I met because we all liked Pokemon. The counts it in, that's perfectly fine, yeah. Exactly how I feel about Mother Earthbound, yeah, like, I would only want another Earthbound if either Itoi was involved or if he, like, was working alongside somebody who had a deep connection with the series. It's like, as long as the older stuff, like, older games remain in circulation, like, I'm honestly totally fine with there never being another Castlevania. Made all my friends drawing Pokemon because I was mad about something related to Pokemon on a DS I bought to play Pokemon on the Pokemon channel. Also, this is a completely random thing, but I was all like listening to a video of like samples from Sonic Rush, which is like, it's crazy how old, like, the soundtrack, you think, oh, they used some samples. No, like, the soundtrack is almost entirely compiled of samples. From some incredibly crazy sources. But, of course, a lot of sample stuff's used in other games' OSTs. And I admit, I was just a tiny smidge let down. That stimulation from CVS2, that the song lyrics for that are just from a sample CD. I mean, it's still an amazing song, but it's just like, I liked my personal headcanon of they got some American guy living in Japan to come to the mic and be like, listen closely, approach me. Ain't special no mo. I mean, it's still special. Samples are just another kind of instrument. But it still made me a little sad. Jack's how I found out about sampling to begin with.
No.
Oh, well, dang. I found out about sampling because of Sonic Rush. Honey Vinci uses the same sample, just sped up. Yeah. Because there's also that one African song that's used in the Crash Bandicoot, like, Crash Bandicoot 1 climbing levels. Like the Jinjanaru. That's actually sped up for Sonic Rush's JJ Rocket. And I guess while I'm in the middle of, even though I have a redeem for video game facts, I'm in the middle of still handing out a bunch of things for free. I haven't, since 7th is here, and I feel like he would be the person to definitely appreciate this, being another kid who was, like, around in the 90s. Because, like, I'm sure 7th, you remember that, like, the 32-bit thing, it was, like, the throwdown between Nintendo, PlayStation, and Saturn. Especially, like, with the Dreamcast and stuff like that, like the Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation. You know, that one little stretch of time where they were the big three. But that brings to, like, one of the craziest things to think about from that perspective of being a kid back then, is the Japanese Nintendo Switch release of the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy was published by Sega. So telling a late 90s 32-bit era kid that, you know, oh yeah, in 2019, Sega will be publishing Crash Bandicoot on a Nintendo. As cool as the Insane trilogy is, I kind of wish the three PS1 Crash, the original PS1 versions of the Crash games were available on more platforms. I just showed that someone in 99. I know, it's so funny. Oh, I remember I brought it up, I think in my other Pokemon stream, and I never finished telling you guys the story about my history with Fable. Okay, so Christmas of 2007, I wanted an original Xbox. I already had PS2 and GameCube. And no, not a 360, because at the time I don't think there was anything on 360 I was really that interested in, but I wanted an original Xbox. So my mom, you know, kind of got me as my one big Christmas gift. She got me an OG Xbox. I was very happy and excited to have my Xbox. And we played, like, Tomb Raider Legend together. It's where I first played Castlevania Curse of Darkness. And so, of course, the first thing I wanted to do was try out all the RPGs. This is also where I ended up playing Jade Empire and kind of bouncing off of it. But Xbox original, like games for the original Xbox were dirt cheap in the late 2000s. Like, nobody gave a crap about PS2, Xbox, really, or GameCube at the time. GameCube was doing slightly better because Wii games could play GameCube, but keep in mind the 360 couldn't play OG Xbox games at all for the first few years. Except for, like, I think Halo 2 and its tiny handful of others. But, so yeah, Fable was one of the games I picked up, because yeah, it was an RPG, and it was on a system I had never had before, so I wanted to play it. And, I remember Mom watched me boot it up and everything, and she's like, it's really colorful, but these characters are ass ugly. And I'm like, Mom? And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm so used to watching you play, you know, like, Final Fantasy and stuff where everybody's super pretty. I'm just not used to characters being fugly. And I'm like, well, I'm still gonna give it a try. And the thing is, as I was playing Fable, characters would talk when there was a text bubble, and the text was not loading on the screen. And it would load after, like, an entire minute, or it would hang. Like, it was kind of doing what your copy of, like, Mega Man 8 was doing on the stream yesterday, 7th. Stuff like that, where it just, like, hang on certain things for long periods of time. And I'm like, uh-oh. So I took the game out, tried to play through it again, because I did actually get far enough to save. And it was doing the same things, but not in the same areas. And I'm like, oh no. So I plunked in, like, Tomb Raider or something, and it was having problems loading with Tomb Raider and all that stuff. So my mom and I were like, oh no, and, like, thankfully it was still under warranty. This was only a couple months after December. I think it was like March or something. So we could return it to the GameStop. And I got another Xbox and stuff. And the thing is, like, my mom's like, hey, bring Fable. And I'm like, why? And she's like, we're trading it in. And I'm like, why? And Mom's like, because that game's so ugly it killed your Xbox. I don't want it killing another one. So Fable went down in history as the game so ugly it killed my Xbox. I love ass-ugly characters, unironically. They weren't the charming kind of ass-ugly. Fable just doesn't really have a very good art style. Damn. It's me. Wait, are you awake? How are your Pokemon doing? My Pokemon have too much energy to burn. It gets to be a problem. Of all my Pokemon, Caterpie's the hardest to handle. Working with it's just exhausting. Oh yeah, I got a wild Poliwag that got away from me just the last second. I know it's a common Pokemon, but it does annoy me that it got away when I almost had it. See you later! Honestly hilarious. It is, because, like, I remember pointing out to Mom's like, oh hey, they remastered Fable for the 360, you know, when they had it, like, when it came out, like, a couple years later, and Mom's like, we don't have enough money to buy you another 360, you're not putting that game in there. Every time I hear your stories about your mom, it always reminds you how old my mom was when she had me. So ugly, even the coolest person ever hated it. Well, I wonder if it was more of a spiritual, like, aura thing, because, like, a lot of stuff worked on by Peter Molyneux has that weird rub me the wrong way thing that I get, that I've mentioned before. Even though a lot of stuff he's worked on are happens to be, like, decently made. Still baffled some of my friends' parents played games with them. You do have to keep in mind that my mom did like unusual and unorthodox character designs. You know, because like I said, she was also the person who complained that like Final Fantasy XII was all just pretty blonde people. She's like, it's Final Fantasy. Shouldn't there be like a gruff guy and a dog or something that join your party? I mean, Final Fantasy V is almost that too. Well, I mean, the weird, unorthodox party setups are really a thing that starts in 6. Because Final Fantasy 1 and 3, you just kind of create your own party like it's a D&D session. And Final Fantasy 2 has a set of characters, but it's mostly pretty people, ambiguously in their late teens or early 20s, with a rotating 4th party member. Your mom had a similar complaint, but it was more along the lines of, why do they all look white? Why is that one character blonde? They look European. Why? Yeah, it really was 6 and then 7 that kind of codified Final Fantasy as having, like, cool and unique designs for different party members. Take off for the night, the EP is claiming me. My eyes are especially telling me to go to bed. You'll go get yourself some sleepies. Good night, Rain. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for the raid. Hopefully I can catch your stream next time because I've really been loving them. I feel like this might not be an optimal place to train my Drowsy. Honestly, I might not stream for too terribly much longer myself. It is getting pretty close to 11 o'clock. I'm getting super hungry. wait, let's go over to Monogamy Town. Also, my hands are really cold. And I can't put my hands under the robe blanket that I've been using because a certain cat is somehow managing to take up the entire blanket all by herself. She's so talented. Find it interesting, that's all. Yeah. One of the longer ones, I think. I'm almost at 4 hours. Because I can actually see OBS on my second monitor, so it has my stream time. Heat's off in my apartment building. No. Oh, dude, that sucks. Is it like an issue from the weather that like knocked the heat out, or did they just decide to turn it off to save some money, or what? Because I swear, whenever I become like a streaming and merchandising millionaire from all my wonderful creative pursuits, I am definitely getting myself a house that has central heating and central air. Could be the former, but probably the latter. Ugh. That freaking sucks. I'm so sorry. See, I almost don't want to get up because, like, Dot is just being super duper adorable. She's got her nose tucked into her hands. Dude, I freaking love Venonat. I want to use Venomoth in a playthrough sometime. Ooh, I know. I should use Venomoth in a playthrough of, like, Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. Because then it, like, because there aren't really many bug moves or anything in the older games. But by the time of the Let's Go games, there's Bug Buzz. Because interestingly, Butterfree and Venomoth mostly learn Psychic attacks as for, like, their main offense moves. Bugs be buzzin'. Because it is interesting, like, I was kind of thinking about it when 7th Force, like, had a tweet on Blue Sky few days ago talking about, like, playing red and blue and stuff, and how, like, you kind of Mandela yourself into forgetting how jank some of the movesets, like Butterfree not learning Confusion till level 12. Or the fact that, like... Give me a sec, my brain screeched to a halt again, I'm so sorry. Or a few other weird things, like, for example, in Gen 1, the only Dragon-type move is Dragon Rage, which always does an exact set 40 damage. So the whole thing about Dragon being super effective on itself is literally an unused interaction in Gen 1. Even though it's programmed into the type chart and everything. Or the fact that in Red and Blue specifically, only birds can learn Fly. Because it's weird, as early as Yellow, they started correcting a lot of this, like having Charizard and Dragonite be able to learn Fly. Frick, I should have given Pocky a Prism Berry, not Prism, but a Bitter Berry. Yep, noping straight out of this one. God fucking damn it. Go get him, Pocky. But okay, here's the thing. Like, I mentioned on, Yellow refined so much. It's weird how much of a jump it is in mid-generation, but I guess it's not that weird, because a lot of times they do a lot of refinements and stuff in the third versions of a lot of the games, so it makes sense. But the thing is, you can trade back a Pokemon from Yellow to, like, Red or Blue or whatever. Even if it learned a move it wouldn't normally learn in Red and Blue. So you could trade, like, if you're doing a Blue playthrough on, like, original hardware or whatever, you could trade, like, your Charizard to Yellow, teach it Fly in Yellow, and trade it back and have a flying Charizard in your playthrough of Blue. I would do this a lot as a kid whenever I wanted to do a playthrough of Red or Blue. I would trade my Pikachu to Yellow, from Red or Blue to Yellow, so it could learn Thunderbolt at, like, level, I think it was 26 or 28, and then trade it back. Because even if you get a wild Pikachu from Red or Blue and trade it to Yellow, it will still learn Yellow Pikachu's entire moveset. Cheater alarm! I'm so bad. Got more fur than any turtle ever had. I still forgot to give him the freaking berry. You should be ashamed. I will go Okay, I will go give a Micaiah from 1999 a stern talking to. Pikachu benefits a lot. Even gets quick attack, well, quicker in yellow. Yeah. I expect a handwritten note of apology. 1999 Micaiah has already written it. I will tell them to write the note to somebody who still won't be born for another year. 1999. Wonder who that'll be. Well, I don't know. They wouldn't have been born yet. Micaiah was cheating. I was pushing out of my mom's womb. That has very I studied the blade energy. Like I said, my favorite is when you teach a Pokemon a move in Gold and Silver that's in Red and Blue, but you can't trade it. It doesn't normally learn in Red, Blue, or Yellow. You trade it back, and when you view it in Stadium 1, it'll have the move highlighted in pink, but it won't punish you, or it won't stop you from using the Pokemon or anything. So it's just funny that Stadium 1 just waves its finger at you, and it's like, do not push out of wombs with blades, please, unless you're a doctor performing a cease action. When you were cheating, I was studying the blade in my mom's womb. Reminds me of, like, one of my favorite lines from Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which, like, as much as that series got turned into a meme, which part of me kind of appreciates it being a meme since, it keeps the show alive and in, like, the, consciousness, I guess. But, one of my favorite lines from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, and it's dropped so casually, was like Mario and Luigi, like there was some massive like incident and actually plumbing was the solution to it. And Mario's like, "Come on, Luigi, we can take care of this. I was born with a plunger in my hand." And Luigi goes, "I know. Boy, was that hard on Mom." And it's so funny because they just drop it so casually and breeze by the line so nonchalantly. It's like... It's interesting, though, because the whole characterization of Luigi kind of being a scaredy cat started... Like, the earliest I've seen it is in Mario Bros. Super Show. Granted, I still haven't watched the, I think 98, 99 Super Mario Bros. Japanese OVA. The one where Luigi's dressed in, like, blue and yellow. But I do admit, every time I read, dialogue from, like, a Mario game like the Mario RPGs, in my head, I always hear Toad, the named Toad, not all the regular Toads, but I always hear Toad with that sort of shrill New Yorker accent. And to me, Bowser always sounds like King Koopa's voice actor in my head. Also, this has kind of gotten a little lost due to licensing stuff on the modern DVD releases, but in the original broadcast versions and on the VHSs of Super Mario Bros. Super Show, whenever they'd have a cool action sequence, they would actually play like a cover of a licensed song. And some of them were like older songs, but some were actually like current of the day. Because when I was little, I was a huge fan of a lot of Michael Jackson's 80s stuff, like the Thriller, Bad, Billie Jean kind of era. And Bad was my favorite song, so when it actually got featured in a Super Mario Brothers episode, I was like, it was like the crossover of a century for like tiny little me. Okay, I think I'm pretty much going to go ahead and wrap it up here. It's almost 11 for me. Use the music. Thank you. Long ago when I first started streaming, since I wasn't used to the energy of like going for like 3 or 4 hours straight, I would like take breaks after about an hour and a half. So I would always run an ad and put on the Lucky Channel music for like 10 minutes while I took my break. So it kind of became our like break music for a little while, but super old show, so it'd be like 2010, right? But good night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming up and hanging out with me. I hope the weather warms up for everybody, myself included. You guys have a wonderful night or rest of your day for you, Guru. Bye. Game over, yeah.